Barista Christine Otis is suing her ex-boyfriend, waiter Peter Manzoni, for his share of their credit card debt. Peter says Christine is not getting any more money from him.
Now, this is case number 563 on the calendar in the matter of Otis versus Manzoni. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated, sir. Have a seat.
Miss Otis, you and Mr. Manzoni have a child together. We're in a relationship, I assume, not married to each other, lived together for a period of time. According to your complaint, during the time that you lived together, you racked up a substantial credit card debt. And at the time that you separated, it was agreed, according to you, that you would take this substantial credit card debt and slice it in half, each of you assuming half of the debt. Card was in your name?
Correct.
That was probably your second mistake, so that all the debt would have been yours unless Mr. Manzoni agreed to pay half of it, which he did. He did pay for a while. He paid a substantial portion of it and then stopped.
That's right.
Mr. Manzoni says, I paid enough. That's pretty much your defense, right?
That's correct.
When did you separate?
Christmas of 2004. 2003, sorry.
1203. Do you have in that pile of material there the credit card bill as of December of 2003?
Yes.
I'd like to see it.
It's 6 credit cards.
And they were all in your name?
All in my name.
Didn't he have any credit cards?
No, none.
Why
Peter
didn't you have any credit cards, sir?
I never had established credit.
So what happened, Mr. Manzoni? You paid, according to you, almost $4,000.
That's correct, Your Honor. I never agreed to split the credit card debt in half with Christine Otis. She and I had an agreement that I would pay back the debt that was solely spent for my purchases, things that I needed to get done or things that I come across where I needed some money.
How long were you living together?
We were living together roughly, give or take, 14 months.
Is what you're telling me that you used these credit cards for that 14 months that you were together for separate purposes?
We used some of the credit cards for joint things, dinners, foods, things of that nature. And then there was times where Christine used the money solely for herself. And then there was times, very few times, where I used the credit cards for myself. A couple things I needed to get taken care of, and I didn't have credit.
Like what?
I needed to get a tooth fixed. I needed to pay a parking ticket.
So how much were your bills in total, sir?
My total bills for the expenses that I accumulate were well under $2,500.
Well under?
Well under.
Your Honor, may I speak for a moment?
In a minute. Would you explain to me, Mr. Manzoni, if your bills were well under $2,500, and you just told me that that's what you agreed to pay, things that were specifically for you, and that's what you agreed to give her. So that's what you're telling me?
That's correct.
Then can you tell me why, in this sworn deposition, you paid her $3,575, substantially more than the $2,500 that you alleged that you owed? That's a question, so it requires an answer.
The reason why I did that, Your Honor, was because I did know Christine was struggling at the time of our separation. She did need money for the credit cards, and she did not have a stable income at the time. And I felt that it was fair that it would be okay for me to spend $275 a month. I didn't have an exact number in my head, but I had a year time that I was going to pay her money. It just equated to that amount.
Does that sound like a lot of double talk to you?
Just a little.
After you left, Mr. Manzoni, how much support were you sending her? Does she have custody of the child?
No, we have no custody matters, Your Honor. We just split the baby.
Who does the child live with?
It's 50-50.
He stays with me 5 nights a week.
How much child support do you pay, sir?
That's a little misleading, ma'am.
I'm just asking you a question. Would
I
you
pay
answer?
no child support. I have my son 50% of the time. I have him from 5 in the morning till 5 in the afternoon.
How many days a week?
Monday through Friday. And I have him also Monday night and Tuesday night all day, all night.
Okay, so you watch him while she works?
That's correct, ma'am.
How do you pick him up?
I drop him off and pick him up.
She works in the we live very close in the downtown area.
And what kind of work do you do?
I work nights at a restaurant. I'm a waiter.
So you've worked it out reasonably.
Correct.
What kind of work do you do?
I am a coffee barista.
A what?
A coffee barista. I own a little coffee stand downtown San Diego.
I never heard of it. A coffee barista?
That's right.
What does that mean?
It means I make coffee.
I make coffee too, but I didn't know it was a profession. Coffee barista. Who are you, sir?
Your Honor, I'm an attorney, and at the time that they split, a mutual friend asked if I would talk to the two of them.
What's your name?
Dean Janis.
Did you talk to Mr. Janis?
I believe, yes.
You did?
Yes.
At the time of your separation?
Yes.
Did you both speak to Mr.
Yes.
Janis? So at the time you were trying to mediate a resolution?
Correct, Your Honor. I was asked to give them my impression of what I thought their legal responsibilities would be.
So that each of them knew that you were not representing either one, you were there merely to give advice.
Correct.
I did not know that, Your Honor. I thought she had sought legal help.
Okay, so you thought that this was her attorney?
Correct.
Oh, perfect. So you're not violating any privilege that he might later claim, right?
That's correct.
Was the wrong answer, Mr. Manzoni. See, if you had said to me, I thought he was representing me, and you could say, listen, I don't want him to breach any confidence. That's privileged information.
All right, change my answer.
Well, you can't. Too late.
All right.
Too late. Gotta be quick.
All right. Next
Gotta
time.
be quick. Next time. You see? And you don't mind him, I assume, relating the conversation that you have because he thought he was your lawyer.
That's right.
There we go. See how perfect it is, Mr. Janis?
Wonderful.
People are constantly stepping on their own ties.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Notice says her ex-boyfriend Peter Manzoni owes for half of her credit card bills. Peter says he's paid what he owes.
Now, tell me about the conversation that you had.
Well, Your Honor, they had several different issues at stake, but the relevant point, I believe, Your Honor, is that during our conversation, he admitted to me that all of the debt on the credit cards was incurred for their joint living expenses, and he indicated to me on the phone with Christine that he was going to pay her for half of that plus any interest that accrued.
Your Honor, that conversation never took place, and that doesn't make any kind of sense, what he just said.
It makes perfect sense to me, Mr.
Well, to me, that's the first
Manzoni.
time I've ever even heard agreeing upon splitting the debt 50-50.
Just a second. It makes perfect sense to me, Mr. Manzoni. That's what she says. You had accrued during the course of the 14 months you were living together when you had no credit card debt in excess of $15,000. Now you're separating and you're trying to work out an amicable resolution because you have a child together and two civilized people decide to speak to an attorney just to talk, if you can't talk between yourselves, to talk to a third party about certain issues so that you can resolve this. And certain of your issues you did resolve very well. You managed a co-parenting situation which allows each of you to work, to support yourself, and to pay half the support for your child. The only outstanding issue was this $15,000 debt that could encumber one person for a very long time or two people for half the time. So what Mr. Janis says makes perfect sense to me.
Your Honor, like I said earlier, the debt is not solely $15,000 between us.
Just a second. You said you paid a dental bill.
And I paid Christine Otis back for that money.
That's with part of the money that you say you paid out of this $3,725, right?
That's correct.
You didn't say as soon as you got the dental bill, here, in addition to anything that I might owe you on the card for our joint dinners and going out and trips that we might take and anything else, here's the $750 for the dentist. That's
Absolutely.
totally separate.
No, ma'am, I absolutely did say that.
Oh, I don't believe that for a second, Mr. Manzoni.
At the time, I was paying all the bills.
Not for a second.
Your Honor, I was paying all the bills, making all the credit card payments, making the truck payments, and paying the rent. I was paying everything. Christine was just spending money like a loose cannon, not me. Everything's in her name. I never forced her once to buy anything.
That's what happens, my dear, when you live together and play house. In any event, I find that you did, in fact, at the time that you separated, agree to pay half the amount of money that was accrued on the credit card. You did pay $3,575. I assume you have proof that you paid that, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Let me see it.
Well, it's just a piece of paper that Christine and I have had a joint statement account.
Let me see it.
Her paper actually has a lot less writing on it. It might be a little better for understanding. But it is the same paper.
Why are you showing me this paper, sir?
Because that's the paper that we had established, that I had made payments for the last 13 months.
So, Mr. Manzoni, what I don't understand is you start off with a balance on both of your pieces of paper of about $7,500.
I don't understand.
What do you mean you don't understand? What word didn't you understand? You started out with a balance. So she's claiming that you each started out with $7,500 that you were supposed to pay off. That's the evidence that you just gave me, that you were supposed to start out paying $7,500, and you
She
say...
just made that calculation on a computer. She just put those numbers on that piece of paper. She could have put any number on there.
This is your evidence. You just handed it to me.
That's her evidence. That's the evidence
Just
she gave
a
me that I
second.
paid, Your Honor.
So you're making a big mistake. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,925. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy did what she thought was fair. She thinks that I still owe Christine Otis another $3,900 or so.
I think it was fair, and I came here to get my money back, and I guess that's what I did.
We had never made an arrangement of paying half the debt. That's what I couldn't get across to Judge Judy.
He just decided he didn't want to pay anymore, and that was it.
We did pay a lot of bills together.
Maybe he's not happy that I'm doing so well for myself.
And then also just foods, and we also had some medical expenses, things of that nature.
I would think that he'd be happy, and I'm not sure. I guess he's not.
If I had to pay, I had to pay, that's all.
But we don't really have a choice. We have a 2-year-old together, and we have to see each other every day, so there'll never be an end.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Haynes versus Lang. Step forward, please.
County Inspector Douglas Haynes is suing his former friend, event coordinator Kimberly Lang, for the return of furniture he loaned her. Kimberly claims Douglas gave her the furniture.
Mr. Haynes, you and the defendant had a friendship, according to what I read. You met at a car dealership and you had dinner a couple of times. And it is your claim that you loaned the defendant some furniture that you had because you were doing some remodeling in your house or garage. And you now want the furniture back.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Lang says that you never loaned her this furniture. You said that you were getting rid of it, but you'd like to have it. She said yes. She did in fact take the furniture because she was new to the area and didn't have any furniture that she had brought with her. That it was not a loan, but a gift. First, show me the furniture that you allegedly loaned to her. I see two people, one with a beard and a shirt open, and one lady with glasses on.
Those are my previous neighbors, and that's the stereo cabinet behind them.
And then we have a brass bed.
Yes.
Okay. Two dressers, I see. What about this sofa? You want this back?
No, it's 23 years old.
Looks as if it was 23 years old. How long did you know Miss Lang before you loaned her this furniture?
Approximately 1 month.
And tell me the circumstances surrounding your loaning her the furniture.
Well, I'm putting an addition on my garage plus a room on top, and there were some heavy beams I had to remove. I didn't want to damage it, so I was going to put it in storage, and Kimberly didn't have any furniture yet. So I mentioned that, well, if she can store it for me and use it, then that would help me out. And on January 2nd, we delivered the furniture, but I noticed that she already had 2 dressers, and then we had some disagreements, and
Could you look at me?
Oh, okay. We had some disagreements, and we were going to meet for breakfast.
Could you look at me? Straight on. I mean, I don't want to embarrass you if you have something wrong with your neck. I just want you to look over here so
Okay.
I can tell what your eyes are telling me in addition to what your mouth is telling me, Mr. Haynes.
Okay. And on January 13th, we were going to meet for breakfast.
Yeah.
Well, she didn't show up, and it upset me. So I went over to see her, and I decided that I didn't want any more to do with the relationship, and I called her up and said, I don't want to do this anymore. May I have my furniture back? And she did call me on the 17th and said I could not have the furniture back, that I made a big mistake and I blew it, and also that I'd have to take her to court to get the furniture back.
Who is this person?
This is my sister, and she had 2 conversations with Kimberly when we were delivering the furniture.
Okay, step up. Tell me your name.
Sandra Haynes.
Who delivered the furniture to Miss Lang?
My brother and Kimberly both.
What did you have to do with it?
Doug was telling me, with Kimberly there, that Kimberly had agreed to store his furniture, and it was a convenient situation because she had no furniture, and so it kind of helped them both out.
Okay. That's it?
That's it. They didn't stay that long.
You have any other conversation with her?
Yes, I did.
When?
I believe after she got back from Los Angeles on the 17th, I called her because she had let Doug know that day that he was not getting back his furniture. So I asked Kimberly, why aren't you giving my brother back his furniture? And she said that she was angry at Doug. Doug was angry at her. She got her parents involved. They didn't want her having anything to do with him, and it was out of her hands. Number two, yes, this was payback time. She had to get back at my brother because of breaking.
Don't tell me breaking up. I'm not interested.
Yeah.
I just want to know what she said to you and what you said to her.
Conversation. And I said, I do not understand. Why can't we just come over and pick up the furniture? It has sentimental value. It's my parents' old wedding set.
And she said?
She said she'd think about it.
Okay, good. Thank you. Now I'll hear you.
Okay. I had met Doug 2 times prior to that date at the car dealership that I worked at. He was a customer. He had subsequently made a phone call to me that he had some furniture that he needed to get rid of, and he knew from our previous conversation that I had an empty apartment and that my stuff was in storage in Orange County. Asked me if I'd be interested in coming by and taking a look at the furniture because he needed to get rid of it. He was doing this remodel. I went by there. It was either the 31st or the 1st of December or January 1st. Looked at the furniture. The next day was when he actually delivered it to my place. I did drop by his sister's house, yes, and met her for the first time, but I was quite surprised that Doug had already explained to her the arrangement that was made with the furniture because she seemed to know what was going on. The furniture was not a loan, it was actually a gift. And so I wasn't at liberty to explain to her what was going on, but I was quite surprised that she understood what was going on.
Just a second. Sure. She suggested to you that the furniture was a loan or a gift?
No. She stated, so my brother delivered the furniture this morning, yes. And how does it look, and did you set it up, and so forth. And I explained to her at the time we did set up the bed. At that point, it was pouring rain. We had a mattress in the back of Doug's truck that was being delivered to my parents. I was sleeping on the floor on a mattress. So we stopped by her house on the way to my parents to drop off that mattress. I didn't hear from Doug again until the 17th of January. I got back from Orange County. There was a message on my machine, and at that point was when he asked me to dinner. I refused to have dinner with him, and I was not interested in dating Doug. He got very angry because I wasn't interested in dating him, and he started demanding his furniture back. I don't know why he was getting upset with me at that point. He threatened my job. He threatened my life. He says, I know where you work. I know where you live. This is going to escalate, and he made some threats, and I hung up the phone on him. That's when his sister called me.
Miss Lang, yes, you sound like an intelligent lady.
Thank you.
He sounds, according to you, like a nut.
Yes.
And the only nexus that you had to this nut was these pieces of furniture that you had had for 15 days.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
So if I were being a smart person, I would say to myself, miscommunication, it was a gift and now he wants it back, but he's a real nut and he's threatening me. Douglas, get a police officer, get your truck, come over and get your furniture. We now have nothing to do with each other. There is no reason for you to call me. There's no reason for you to have anything to do with me. That's what a smart person says.
Under normal circumstances?
Not a stupid person who says, now I'm dealing with a nut.
You are.
And I have furniture that I've had for 2 weeks. Furniture that belonged to your parents may have some sentimental value to you, sir. It's junk. I mean, I've looked at it. It's junk. The only thing that looks anywhere that somebody might want to keep is this brass bed. And I may not be a furniture maven, but I have a pretty good eye. The only value that bedroom set has is sentimental value, because other than that, it has no value. Now,
Your Honor, I do have. When I went to Orange County, when I rented a pickup truck, and I do have a receipt here that shows when I actually picked up the truck and when I actually returned it, there was furniture that I left behind because now I had an apartment full of furniture. I now had 2 dressers, a bed, a coffee table, a couch. There were things that I left behind in storage. So when
are you telling me, Ms. Lang, that the couch you left behind was not as nice?
No, I didn't.
Just a second. The couch that you left behind was not as nice as this couch? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
That's not what I'm saying. I did not have a couch in storage.
Right. I mean, I was a little confused. give him back his furniture. Now!
Thank you.
And say, I'm going to borrow that mattress from my parents again if I have to have a mattress to sleep on. But I don't want Mr. Haynes in my life. I don't want his sister in my life. I don't want this nut calling my job. I just want it over. And I'm going to give him back his parents' furniture so he can put his underwear in it, and give him back his brass bed so he can sleep on it. And I don't want to have anything to do with me anymore. Is that fine, Douglas?
Yes, Your Honor.
Perfect.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Thank you, sir. I wouldn't date him. I turned him down, and that's when he demanded his furniture back.
She was just upset because I didn't want to be with her anymore.
In the court order, it states that, he's contacted my work. He's contacted, knows I no longer work there.
I don't know where she came up with that one.
He knows where I work. He knows where I live, and I'm very concerned for myself.
Douglas Jones says his cousin, Dwight Lewis, and his girlfriend, Mary Ellen Castillo, owe for damage to his house. Douglas says the damage occurred during a fight between Mary Ellen and his girlfriend, Laminda.
Were you present during the altercation?
I know. I was in a room next to the kitchen.
Step up here. What's your name?
Laminda?
Laminda, you have a last name.
Malik.
When did they move in with you?
They moved in June of '04, and the fight took place at August.
It was right after your back
30th.
surgery.
Right. Right.
August of 31st of '04.
Correct.
What started the fight?
We were in the kitchen, and the night before we had been fighting the whole night. My dad was just going to California, so he had stopped by, and she was still calling me names the next morning. It was over a washer and just things that she was like nitpicking on if I did the dishes or, putting dishes to each side of the sink. I mean, it was ridiculous. It was little kid fighting, but she was still doing it the next day. When my dad came over, she stood over in the carport, and she starts like folding her arms and just staring at me, and I'm trying not to look over at her, and she starts going oink oink, oink oink, you a pig, oink oink.
That's the day before.
Yeah, later on we were cooking, and she spit in my face and ran. And at the time she couldn't really talk because she had sores in her mouth. And so I don't know, to me that was assault. That was assault to me. That was it. I had it, and I couldn't take it no more. And
so what did you do?
I snatched her up when she was running.
What does that mean, you snatched her up?
By her hair.
So you grabbed her by the hair?
Yeah.
And what did you do?
And I threw her on the ground, and we were fighting. Then her husband jumped in and went to go pull me off.
And that's when I heard the commotion.
That's when he heard the commotion.
And I just had a back operation a couple of days before that.
I'm sorry about that. You feeling better?
A little bit.
Good. Can we get back to the story, please? All right. So now he comes in to try to pull you off. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. And when he started to pull me off, I felt like I was being, like it was both of them. She was still getting her, kicking me and stuff, and I'd been threatened by her the whole time.
Well, he's trying to pull you off, so evidently you're on top.
No, pull us apart, actually, because at the time we were both still wrestling on the ground, and I had been told many times, don't mess with Mary Ellen, that she was going to whoop my...
Okay.
Sorry.
Where are all the children when this is going on?
They were scattered all over the house. Some were playing out in the yard, and some were in the living room.
The children didn't come in to hear what all the commotion was?
Yeah, a couple of them came to the kitchen door after the fight had broken up. See, they've been nitpicking at each other for a while, especially Mary Ellen, because it seemed like she wanted to be the alpha female, and you don't do that when you're invited to somebody's house. I asked my cousin and them to come up here because Mary Ellen had got kicked out of his daughter's house in Georgia, where they moved into another house, and they said they had black mold and the mold was killing them. So I was like, well, come on up and stay with me. You got 3 kids, so get them in school up here and come up here. I didn't expect her to come over and take over.
I wouldn't try to take over from her.
Evidently she tried.
I want to know how the window got broken.
After the fight went on, I think Mary Ellen was very upset about getting beat because she was promoted.
Come on.
My cousin was promoting her as, this really good fighter. She beat up 2 cops in California and all this kind of stuff. And she was upset getting beat, so she took it out on my house. You know.
Did you see her throw the plate?
No, I heard the plate. I saw her hitting the door with the plate, though, because once I heard the kitchen window break, I was on the phone with my brother, Wolf Fat Jones, and I came in. She was at the sliding glass door, banging it, but she had broke a plate on the sliding glass door already.
Why were you hitting the sliding glass door with the plate?
It wasn't broken at all.
Why were you hitting it with the plate?
She attacked me when I had, there was blood all over the floor, and she gave me a scar right here, and I have 4 stitches. I have 2 cuts, 4 stitches.
Sounds like you got the better of the bargain.
And my window still isn't fixed. I have plastic on it. You know, in Seattle it rains a lot, and it ran up a lot of bills because I'm raising my 2 boys. I'm out on L&I right now, so I don't have a lot of money to fix the window. Labor in the industry. I got hurt at work. I work in a prison, so I couldn't get it fixed. They said that they were going to fix it.
When did they say they were going to fix it?
The next day afterwards, he said, "Well, let's go to Lowe's and find another window." And I said,
Did
"No."
you say that, Mr. Lewis?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
So why didn't you fix it?
He didn't want a Lowe's window. He wanted it professionally done, which would have cost a lot, and we didn't have the money at the time.
The reason why I didn't want him to fix my window, Your Honor, he was trying to, he changed my toilet seat with a crowbar.
Let me see the estimate on the window. As long as Mr. Lewis agreed to fix it, then he's got to fix it.
Well, Your Honor, he tried to fix my toilet bowl and cracked it. I don't want him to...
No, he's not coming back to fix it now.
Yeah, no, I don't want him to fix it anyway.
Okay.
He doesn't know what he's doing.
Do you have a picture of the patio door?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
I'd like to see it, please.
I took it with a camera phone, so you can still see it good, though.
Quite frankly, what distresses me more than anything else is that you have 5 children there who are witnessing these
That's
2
what I'm
women
saying.
in a mud fight on the
window.
kitchen floor. And according to your cousin, at least, you seem to think that it's wonderful that she's a good fighter.
He always did. He always did.
You've heard the fictionalized account. What I will tell you what truly happened.
Go ahead, I'm willing to listen.
When we left Georgia, we left Marietta because the house we were in had too much mold in it.
Tell me about your daughter.
Mary Ellen and the children wanted to go to Washington, to Uncle Dougie's house. So we went up there. He had told us, he had assured us beforehand that Laminda was not living there. He had kicked her out a year before because they weren't getting along.
Where were the children? His children lived?
His children were there.
But not their mother?
No. He had hired a nanny for a while.
Is that right so far, sir?
That's correct.
Okay.
He had hired a nanny. She came over and beat up the nanny one day. That's why she had a warrant. That's why after she assaulted Mary Ellen, she had to split. That's why once we broke them apart in the kitchen during the fight, he was trying to get her out of the place before the police arrived.
Mr. Lewis, when you arrived there, was she there?
No, she was not. She has her own place.
When did she come back?
When he needed to have his back operation. His oldest son has diabetes. He did not trust either of us to give him his medication. We've never done it.
But she had.
So she had. They had been together since the kids were small until he got rid of her. Well, when she came back in, she was back in her house. She was pushing her around. She even tried to push me around, telling me to get out of my cousin's room.
Which was my room at the time?
No, you slept in the extra bedroom. He would let you come in there once in a while.
No.
Okay.
For whatever.
Becoming clear to me, why did you eject her from the house?
She's been gone for at least a year and a half, maybe 2 years. Well, she liked going out a lot, you know. And
she liked to party.
Exactly, yeah.
And that wasn't good for your children?
No.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
There's a reason why you tell the mother of your children she can't live in your house anymore.
Right.
I mean, I don't have to go into all the details.
We actually parted our own ways.
There's a reason you tell the mother of your children that she can't live in your house anymore and she's leaving without her children.
I didn't leave without my children, Your Honor.
Right.
I didn't leave without my children. I had my children with me when I left them. I stayed in the shelter with my kids, Your Honor, so...
Somehow the children got back with their father.
Yeah, they did, because I was a housewife with nothing to stand on when I left him.
You have to pay for the window and the door. If you're still together. She looks confused. You understand that you understand that you have to pay for the window and the door.
Yes, Your
You
Honor.
said you were going to pay for it. If she wants to sue her for her medical bills, she certainly is entitled to do that. At some other date, if you had filed a counterclaim with regard to her medical bills or injuries, I would have at least entertained that today, but you had no counterclaim. You have to pay for the window and the door. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $600.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
You can't put two hens in the same nest without feathers flying.
There's only one owner of the house, which is me, and she took care of the kids. When you come to visit somebody, you don't come in and take over it.
She fights like the who's the guy on the cartoons, the Tasmanian devil.
She would turn around and say things out loud in front of my son that I was
They were like the relatives from hell.
I've been with this woman 19 years. She's the Tasmanian devil.
He's sensible, she isn't. As you can see, she's a little different.
I told my cousin, women are not going to break our relationship up.
Plaintiff Richard Buck Sr. is suing horticulturist Gordon Westfall for the cost of medical marijuana plants. Richard says Gordon didn't deliver the marijuana as promised.
That's case number 64 on the calendar in the matter of Buck versus Westfall. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated, ma'am. Have a seat.
Mr. Buck, in what state do you reside, sir?
Oregon.
I assume it is legal in Oregon, in the state where you reside, for you to enter into a contract in order to provide you with medicinal marijuana.
Yes, ma'am.
Which you say you need because you are ill and you take it for medical reasons.
Yes, ma'am.
It is your claim that you entered into a contract with Mr. Westfall for him to provide you with marijuana, which was prescribed by your doctor for you, and that he breached that contract, did not provide you with the marijuana. You had given him a certain amount of money. Not only do you want that money back, but you want other non-specific damages because you say that because of his breach, you were not provided with the marijuana. You suffered physically as a result of that, and you want him to pay damages.
Yes, ma'am.
First of all, what's the nature of your illness, sir?
I'm paraplegic. I also have stress-related seizures, and I have extreme muscle spasms because of the paralysis.
And for how long have you been under doctor's care, part of which is the use of marijuana?
For a little over a year.
And how often are you supposed to use marijuana?
5 to 6 times a day.
Where did you meet Mr. Westfall?
I met him at a medical cannabis awards that was going on in Portland, Oregon.
When?
In the 22nd of November of last year.
And when did you enter into the agreement with him?
We signed the transfer papers on the 25th, and he started to grow in the garden for me on the 28th.
Can I see the papers that you signed? What is a transfer agreement?
Giving him the legal right to grow the medicine for me.
It's called a change request form, and what this is a form that illustrates or it tells people where the cannabis is going to be grown. It's going to be telling who the cannabis is growing it, and he signed this on the 7th of January. Legally,
just a minute,
I cannot grow any medicine until that's signed and given to DHS.
When did you terminate your relationship with him?
March 29th.
So approximately little less than 3 months.
Correct.
According to you, since he signed this agreement. Right? Now he says he signed it in the end of November.
That's his signature.
Who filled this out? Here?
We filled in 2 of those request forms. The first one that we filled out, Your Honor, he was living at his mother's address, which is not the same address that was there. In January, on the 9th, we moved the garden from his mother's house into his new home that he just moved to.
Okay, the reason I'm asking you that question, Mr. Westfall, the reason I'm asking you that question, Mr. Westfall, is I read your answer very carefully, and your answer said that your agreement was that you would grow this marijuana for him between 4 and 6 months from the day you executed the agreement. And if I believed what you tell me, that this was the date that he signed the agreement, and you couldn't start growing until he signed the agreement, that was less than 3 months.
Correct.
So he is correct that you signed your original agreement sometime in November.
That's right, because
we moved. I moved, and we had to fill out a new caregiver form for the new address. So he is correct. There was another agreement other than this one.
Yes, he is correct.
Okay, So you started to give him money. How much money did you give him after you signed the original agreement?
$425 over a period of 4 months.
Is that correct, Mr. Westfall?
That's perjury, and that's a flagrant lie.
You just asked me yes or no.
That's a
not
lie.
correct. Show me a canceled check, sir.
He asked for cash. He didn't want anything in paper. These are the dates and the amounts I wrote in a journal as soon as he left my house. Every payment was made at my house. My wife was.
How much did he give you, Mr. Westfall?
He gave me $50 a month plus $20 on top of that twice, and he said he gave me my mother $50 for her electricity.
Look at me.
He gave her $50. He said he gave her $50 on the 4th of January. He paid the 70 plus the 70, and then another 50. $170 is what he paid.
That would be $190.
But I don't know if that other 50 is
That would
there.
that would be $190 so
Okay.
far. He says $420. Okay, and then what happened, Mr. Buck?
Come the 27th, I was supposed to have my medicine delivered to me on the 28th of March. On the 27th,
Just a second. Who said so?
the gardener, Gordon, he told me that my crop would be in. The first time it was February, then it was the 18th of March, then it went from the 18th to the 28th.
Of March.
Of March.
Yes.
Then come the 27th of March, I called his house to ask him what time he would be coming over on the 28th. He said that he needed another 2 weeks, which is over and over again the same excuse.
Okay.
So I asked him if I could please come out and see the garden, because after 5 months I had not been allowed to see it.
Wasn't 5 months.
4 months.
Right. Don't.
And so he refused to let me. And then that night, about 5.5 hours later, he brought this one plant over to me, and it was nothing like it was supposed to have been. He also brought me this paper to sign that was handwritten by him, suggesting that I asked him to bring the plants to me when I never did. I asked to see the garden. And also with that is a picture of the plant that he did bring me. And there's 2 pictures of a plant that should have been what it looked like at that stage.
Okay, so tell me what happened, Mr. Westfall.
What happens, like I said, we met.
Just tell me what happened with this plant.
What happened was...
You started to grow his marijuana sometime in late November, because that's when you signed the original agreement. Okay, now we're in March. We're at the end of March.
So we moved the plants into the new home, went through a shock. My daughter got sick because of the mold that was going through the air, so I had to move those plants into another space on the property.
Now, when did you communicate the fact that because of your own family problems, you had to move the marijuana plant?
Well, it wasn't because I had to move the plants.
Listen to me. When did you communicate?
The 28th. The
28th of what?
The 29th.
Of what month?
March 29th.
Well, when did you actually move the plants, Mr. Westfall?
The plants were already moved 2 months before that.
Just a minute. Did you tell him that you moved the plants that were supposed to be his went into shock?
That was, yes, but that was because of a light problem that we had, unforeseen light problem.
I don't care what your problems are, sir. Do you understand?
Yes.
I'm asking you when you communicated that fact to Mr. Buck. In March?
March.
Or in March? Well, that's wrong, Mr. Westfall.
No, I was in
That's wrong, Mr. Westfall. If because of your own family problems, your daughter's problems, mold problems, whatever problems, you could not complete your contract in a timely fashion, it was your responsibility as a caregiver to advise Mr. Buck that he couldn't have his contracted for medicine because of your problems. You chose not to do that. That's not fair, sir.
But that isn't right. The reason why we had the delay was on the 29th. I called him and I said we had a lighting problem that put the plants back 4 to 6 weeks.
You had problems with it before. That's what you just told me. Don't try to dance around that.
Not for the flowering plants.
Not for the flowering plants. What are you growing, gardenias, sir?
There's 3 different stages of growth. There's the propagation stage where you clone and you grow for 21 days or so, and that will get your roots. After that, you grow for 3 months in the vegetative state, which allows it to get tall enough to be put into the flowering state, in which I have a video of the...
I'm not interested.
...of the plant.
You're fast-talking me, sir.
And when
You're fast-talking me.
You cannot have any light on those flowers for the 70 days that you flower them. And there was a lighting problem, and that's what was the problem.
Who caused the lighting problem?
There just was the timer.
What do you mean, though?
The timer didn't go off.
Whose fault is that?
It's a timer, the manufacturer, obviously.
No, sir, that's your responsibility. You're supposed to be watching the store.
Every day I go in there.
Well, then it's your responsibility. Mr. Westfall, you do not deny that you had a verbal contract to provide these plants for him.
Correct.
I think that you're doing a lot of fast talking, sir. I don't know what you did with the plants. I don't know if you sold the marijuana to somebody who was paying you more money. I have the foggiest idea what you did. But you breached the verbal agreement to provide him with something that the state of Oregon says that he is permitted to have in order to ameliorate a physical condition. He contracted that you should provide for him, and I find that there is absolutely no excuse for you not providing for it in a timely fashion. Now, how long did it take you, sir, to get the medicinal marijuana that you need?
I haven't gotten any from Gordon at all.
Not from him.
I've had to ask for donations, and there's not always available, so I've had to do that.
You had to ask for donations, so you want your money back.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, that's all that you're going to get, sir, and I find that you gave him $425, although he says no, but you're certainly not going to get any other damages because you've been provided with it, even though you had to ask for it as a favor. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $425. That's all.
Why is that excuse when they step out? $150, he's suing me for $400. He's a liar.
He told me he was doing this for the good karma in his soul, but then turned around to try to charge me over and over and over again for money and then lied about it himself.
He required and made me give him his plants after he yelled and called my pregnant wife names on the phone.
100% of the time it happens just before the medicine is to be delivered, and they're looking at all this money, and that's what the greed is usually what takes people.
I ended up cutting off my relationship with him. I gave him his plants, and that was it.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Robinson versus Gorman. Step forward, please.
Plaintiff Anna Robinson is suing her former friend, water well driller Paul Gorman, for the return of a 1989 Chevy Blazer. Anna says Paul took possession when she went to prison for operating a meth lab.
Ms. Robinson, according to what I gather from your complaint, Mr. Gorman was a long-time friend of yours,
yes,
and a trusted friend. And there was a period of time when you became incarcerated. You were incarcerated on more than one occasion. While you were incarcerated, you gave Mr. Gorman power of attorney to handle certain of your affairs, cash your checks, etc. During your second period of incarceration, it is your claim that Mr. Gorman appropriated a truck that belonged to you by misusing the power of attorney. You want the truck back, or the value of the truck. Mr. Gorman says there is a very good reason why you can't have the truck back, and that's because he invested a substantial amount of money in the truck, including money to get it out of impound, where it was when you went to prison. That's your defense.
Yes, ma'am.
When was the first time you were incarcerated, Ms. Robinson, when you gave Mr. Gorman the power of attorney?
98.
For what?
I was incarcerated for drugs.
And how long were you incarcerated?
16 months, I believe.
And when was the next time you were incarcerated?
July 12th of 2002.
And how long were you incarcerated?
For 3 years.
And that was for drugs also?
Yes.
When you were incarcerated in July of 2002, you had a truck?
Yes, ma'am.
What year truck did you have?
1989 Chevy Blazer.
And where was the truck when you were incarcerated?
I was driving the truck and it went to impound.
You were driving the truck at the time of your arrest?
Yes.
Were you transporting drugs in the truck at the time of your arrest?
Yes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment and says when she went to jail, former friend Paul Gorman took possession of her Chevy Blazer. Anna says Paul refuses to return the vehicle.
Did you ask him to get the truck out of impound?
Yes. I said if he got the truck out of impound, they could drive it for the duration of my sentence.
Was that the conversation that you had with her?
No.
You tell me your version of the conversation that you had with her.
She basically asked if we can get it out and stuff, and we didn't have the money ourselves. And then time, lapsed on. Then we finally got a notice. They gave us 1 week to impound. They're going to sell it. And then she said, if you guys can get it out, because I'm going to be gone for probably permanently, you guys can have it. And she mentioned to the neighbor, and she goes, well, I'll lend you the money if you pay me back, and I hold the title. I said, sure. So I have a notarized statement from her saying this is what happened.
Miss Robinson, what would have happened to the truck if Mr. Gorman didn't?
Well, it would have been lost.
So what difference does it make to you if he went and got the truck out?
Because it was my truck. I mean, he got it out for me.
That's not what he's saying. He's saying he called you and said they're going to sell the truck. I just got a notice. And he said what you said to him was, well, if you can get it out, it's yours.
I wrote him and them and asked him about the truck and various other things. How are you doing? What's up with the truck?
Well, do you have any letter from them indicating that they're taking care of the truck for you?
Nothing. They never wrote me back. till the day before I got out of prison.
And then did they write you back?
They wrote me back and said, here's your address, and here's our cell phone number.
What does that mean? Here's your address, here's your cell phone.
Because I wasn't sure where I was going to parole to. They were supposed to have moved in within that 2-year period.
We were
and they never did
parole
end
at
up
our
moving.
address.
Just a second. Why were they so... Shh, Ms. Robinson, why were they so nice to you?
We've been best friends for years. We've always helped each other out.
So why would you think that they would do something that's so sinister, according to you, stealing your property?
That's why I was blown away. I couldn't believe they would do that.
Well, I don't want you to stop getting blown away, because I have to make a decision as to whether or not I believe him when he says... Shh, I'm speaking.
Sorry.
Whether I believe him when he says that you said to him, listen, do what you have to do. Truck's gone anyway. I can't get the truck out. If you have to borrow money from somebody, borrow money from somebody. He even says that he was prepared to give you the truck if you wanted it when you got out. All you had to do was pay him the money that it cost him to get the truck out of impound, plus what he put into the truck. Didn't you say that to her?
Half, I'll sell for half of what I put into it. I'll cut that in half since I've used it.
And what did she say to you?
Basically, at first, she said yes, and then the next thing I know, a couple of days, she moved out, and I haven't spoke to her since.
The day I moved out was the day he told me I couldn't have my truck back. The very next day, I went to the DMV so I could do this legally to get my truck back, and they had already told me that the previous year they took the title out of my name. A year after I was arrested.
I'm not talking about title back in your name. He said to you, give me the money that I...
And I agreed to that right from the day one.
Did you give it to him?
No, I didn't have the money at the time. I was just out of prison. I wasn't a week out of prison.
Well, then you wanted your truck back without giving him any money.
I never demanded the truck that day. I told them they could keep using the truck because I realized they had work to do. They had to use their truck.
I suggest that you get a job, make some more money. The 1989 truck that he got out of impound is his. He paid for it. You would have lost it anyway. These were people that were very nice to you. No good deed goes unpunished. Do you understand?
Yes.
The friendship is over?
Yes, I guess. I tried that. My only was trying not to lose it.
Well, that's unfortunate. Anyway, your lawsuit's dismissed, Miss Robinson. That's all. Step out.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I bent over backwards, I think, every way I could, you know.
That's all I had left when I got out, and they knew that.
I even offered to just give back, knowing I probably never received the money.
It's more upsetting that I've lost 2 good friends.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Freeling versus Reed. Step forward, please.
19-year-old cashier Erin Freeling is suing her ex-boyfriend, 23-year-old landscaper Philip Reed, for disposing of all her belongings and for damaging their apartment. Philip is countersuing, claiming Erin stole his cat.
Miss Freeling, you and Mr. Reed used to live together as boyfriend and girlfriend. You lived in an apartment, is that right?
That's correct.
At some point you had an argument, you left, and you claimed that Mr. Reed disposed of some of your property. And in addition, he damaged the apartment so that you didn't get whatever security deposit back you were supposed to. Mr. Reed says that he didn't cause any more than normal wear and tear in the apartment, and he was forced to dispose of your property because he would abandon the property there, and he had to get the property out because the lease was over. Is that right, sir?
Yes, correct.
Okay. When did you move in together, Miss Freeling?
We had moved in together September of 03.
When did you leave?
July of 04.
Why did you leave?
He got too controlling, started being violent, so I decided to leave, and I had returned a week later to get some personal belongings and my cat. When I returned to get my cat, he had started pushing me back into the apartment, and at that point I had my mom call 911, and we had the police come over, and they had to take him aside so I could get my personal belongings out of the apartment and my cat. I couldn't get that much stuff that day.
Why not?
Because I had a small car, and I was afraid to return to the apartment because he got very violent when I did go, and I didn't feel that I should have to call the cops every time I want to come over to my apartment.
Go ahead.
When I come back in September of 04, he had left my clothes on the middle of the floor, wet with urine, but I have videotape of all the damages or the stuff that he thrown in the dumpsters.
Approximately, we lived together for a year and a half. We had a loving, caring relationship. About 8 months in the relationship, Mrs. Freeling told me she had feelings for another female, and she left the premises. I didn't hear from her. I called her and I told her if she don't come get her belongings, I'm going to throw them out. She took my cat that my grandmother got for me last Christmas.
Don't interrupt him. Who took care of it?
I did, because she wasn't there most of the time.
Step up. What's your last name?
Reed, Audrey.
Miss Reed, you bought the cat last Christmas?
Yes, I gave it to him as a present.
Miss Freeling, where'd you get the cat from?
I got the cat for Christmas from Philip, and I took care of the cat. I have vet bills.
Can I see the vet bill, please?
This is even his health checkup. Here's his rabies tag. The cat stuff is mailed to my mom's house because she paid for it.
Who took the cat to the vet, Mr. Reed?
Mom did. Aaron's mother did.
No, Aaron and her mother.
Along with me.
Aaron and her mother.
Correct.
Right, from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Thank you. You may sit down, Miss Reed. Now, what stuff do you claim he disposed of that belongs to you?
When I had returned to the apartment, I found everything gone. This is a list of just the main stuff that I found that was gone.
Why didn't you come before? I don't buy the story that you didn't go before because you were afraid of him because he was violent. You could have gone with the police again. You went with them once. You could have gone with them again and gotten your stuff. Why didn't you go back?
Because I didn't have a vehicle that I could move the dresser.
That's baloney.
Because I didn't feel that I should have to get the law involved to get belongings back.
Well, then that's tough. I'm not dealing with something like a sugar dispenser, $3. Salt and pepper shakers, $5. Small cat bowls, $3. The only thing I have to make a decision today about really is the cat and whose cat it is. Mr. Reed, get over the cat. She took the cat with her. She left a lot of other property behind, but she made sure she took the cat. Where's the cat now?
He's at my house.
All right. And the rest of the stuff that was disposed of, you deal with it. Now, you say that he damaged some property.
We had gotten into an argument. I locked myself in the bathroom. He had damaged the door. When I went back to the apartment, I found tomatoes on the wall.
Do you have a bill from the landlord charging you for cleaning
Yes,
up?
I do.
I'd like to see it. Who paid the security deposit?
I paid the security deposit.
That was billed to both of us.
Now I'll see the video.
This is what we found dumpster diving. Here's where he threw most of his stuff. Notice, huh? Pretty good, huh?
There's tomato stains on the carpet.
On the carpet. Okay, this is the doorknob that he broke. Trying to get into the bathroom when I locked myself in the bathroom.
You say she locked herself in the bathroom and you knocked the door. Is that true?
No, I'm not a violent person.
Your Honor,
in any event, that was in January and you lived with him until July, is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
And another thing is, she came a week before the lease was even up. Like a week. How come she couldn't confront me and say, hey, I'll pay half of it? Like a couple...
I have no idea. Listen, I'm not
Okay.
Dear Abby.
All right.
I mean, the whole thing is very irritating.
Yeah.
You know, two children playing house and then things go wrong and then you annoy the courts by asking them to get involved in who belongs to two placemats and a salt and pepper shaker. If you can't play house like adults, don't play house. Half of $490 is $245, which is left due and owing by each of you to the landlord. The apartment wasn't left in such bad condition. I'm speaking. The apartment wasn't left in such bad condition. The cat belongs to you. Get a judgment for $245. That's all.
Step out.
He was controlling. He would get violent.
She had feelings for another female, she told me.
I haven't fell in love with another woman.
That is not true.
I just have other preferences.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Spring versus Bell. Step forward, please.
24-year-old graduate student Natalie Spring is suing her former friend, Baker Marquetta Tammy Bell, for medical bills from a dog bite. Tammy says the attack was Natalie's fault.
Miss Spring, Miss Bell's dog bit you.
Yes.
And you want to be compensated.
That's right, Your Honor.
Not only for the dog bite, but also for clothing that was ripped, etc.
Yes.
Miss Bell does not deny that her dog bit you. She said it's your fault.
Yes, Your Honor.
You sure you want to go with that defense, Miss Bell, because you look like a woman that doesn't like to get beaten up?
No, ma'am.
Okay, but that's your defense, that it's
Yes,
her fault.
ma'am.
Okay. Where did this happen, Miss Spring?
This happened at Miss Bell's house.
What were you doing at Miss Bell's house?
I had gone over, I had arranged with Tammy before to bake some cakes for a party that I was throwing, and so I went over to her house to pick up the cakes. And I parked my car on the street, walked up to the house. The dog Lance was sitting there, and I said, "Hey, Lance." Lance
the dog
ran
was
off.
Sitting where?
Sitting on the front porch, right by her front door.
Had you gone to her house before?
I had. I'd gone and played spades there with some friends before.
And when you went there, the dog was there?
Yes. Usually the dog would be in another room or on the back porch.
This time the dog was chained on the front porch?
Yes.
And you had made arrangements to pick up your cakes?
Right. I had told Tammy that I was going to be over there sometime between 4 and 6 on Friday to pick them up because I had to take them to the party. I believe it was between 4 and 4:30.
And tell me where the dog bit you.
The dog bit me 3 times on my legs and then left a deep scratch on my thigh.
What kind of a dog is this?
According to the animal control report, it is a Lab Corgi mix.
Can I see
the
report?
I don't know anything about dogs, really.
I also have a picture of my dog, Your Honor.
I'd like to see a picture, please.
He's the beige one right there.
Thank you. Okay. This happened on the
21st of March.
1st of March, and your dog was impounded on the 24th?
Yes, Your Honor. They put him in dog jail.
In dog jail?
Dog jail, yes, Your Honor.
For how long?
He was in dog jail for 10 days. I had to pay $98 to get him out. In the state of North Carolina, you have to, if a dog bites someone, even if it's on your own property, the dog's leashed up, you have to put him in quarantine for 10 days. But it's partly her fault, Your Honor, because she's been
Now you're going to tell me how it's her fault.
Because she's been in my house before, and she's been there a couple of times. Lance on the front porch, he's barking. She has to toot the horn. I had to go get Lance and put him on the back porch. But this time, Your Honor, I heard the dog barking, but I was in the restroom. When I came outside, she was standing there, and she said Lance had bitten her. I said, well, Natalie, why did you keep approaching a dog that's barking? Because the dog, he hasn't bitten anyone before, but he does bark at people. He has an aggressive nature.
Miss Bell, you said a few things that are interesting. So we're going to go back to you and your defense.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you bake cakes for a living?
Part-time, yes, ma'am.
So when Miss Spring was coming to your home to pick up the cakes, she was a customer?
Yes, Your Honor. She came early, as she said.
No, she told you she was coming between 4 and 6. And
yes,
she got there between 4 and 4:30, which is between 4 and 6.
And she got there about 3:30 to be exact. She got there real early.
Okay. So you have a dog that you say has an aggressive nature.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's what you said. You do have a back porch.
Yes, Your Honor.
And the dog, you say, is usually on the back porch because of the dog's aggressive nature when you have people coming over.
Yes, I put him on the back porch, yes.
And it would have been the smart thing to do, knowing that Miss Spring was coming over, to put the dog on the back porch, knowing the dog has an aggressive nature, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
You chose not to do that. Do you think that Miss Spring is dumb enough to walk into a situation where she knows she's going to be bitten by a large dog?
No, he's not large. He's a short dog. He's about this tall and that long. He's very
Does the dog weigh more than 30 pounds?
He's right at 45 pounds.
Well, that's more than 30.
Yes, Your Honor.
So this is a large enough dog to cause damage. I mean,
Yes.
a dog that's 45 pounds can kill a child.
Yes, Your Honor.
What would happen if a child who's 5 years old that weighs 30 pounds comes up to your front porch to pet the dog? And the dog starts barking, and the child doesn't stop, and your dog kills that child. Do you think that you're responsible, or the 5-year-old is responsible?
That's a tough question.
It's not a tough question at all, madam. If you know that you have a dog that has an aggressive nature, it is your responsibility to ensure that that dog is not in a position to hurt anybody. And if you invite people to come to your home, and what the person has to do is to get by an aggressive animal, it's your responsibility.
Well, Your Honor, she's been there before, as I understand. She has tooted the horn and said, Tammy, put the dog up, and that's what I've done. Your Honor, this time, she didn't do that. I don't know why she's been in my house. It's not like she has not been in my house.
So you think let me ask you this question. You think she wanted the dog to bite her so that she could sue you? Is that what you think?
I'm not sure what she was thinking on that day.
Well, what were you thinking of when you left your aggressive dog chained on the front porch when you were expecting a customer?
She came 30 minutes early.
So she came 30 minutes early. That's a possibility.
Your Honor, I was planning to put the dog up at 4 o'clock.
You should have put the dog up at 3:30. Because if you were afraid that your dog is too aggressive to be on the front porch at 4 o'clock, you should have gotten the dog off the front porch, period. And I don't see why you keep an aggressive dog anyway.
Because he's a good dog. The neighborhood is not so nice, and so you need to be aware if someone's going to approach you and try to harm you. That's the first time he's ever bitten anybody.
Well, it's going to be an expensive time, madam. Do you have the bills for your medical care?
I have the receipt from the prescription, the visit to urgent care, and then also the ACE bandages that I had to get.
Can I see them, please? Do you have any scars left?
Yes, ma'am. I have 2
Can I
scars.
see?
Yeah. Do I just step up? I have one right there on my knee, and then one right there.
So the dog went after both legs?
Yes. Yes, there was another bite on my right leg, but it didn't leave a scar.
What happened after the dog bit you?
After the dog bit me, I was screaming, and where Tammy said that I usually honk the horn, I'd never honked the horn when I'd gone to Tammy's house. And
that's not true, Your
the
Honor.
dog was sitting on the front porch. The dog wasn't barking. If Lance had been barking, I wouldn't have walked up to Lance. I said, "Hey, Lance," and he rushed at me and bit me. So I started screaming, yelling for Tammy, yelling for her roommate, and they came out. And I had gotten away from the dog at this point, and he was pulling on his chain really tight, like he was going to get loose again. Tammy came out, took him inside. I'm bleeding on her driveway, and tell her, you know, like, we need to do something because the bites weren't stopping bleeding.
What happened next?
Tammy drove my car and took me over to the urgent care about 2 or 3 miles away and sat with me at the urgent care. And then after I was seen and they dressed the wounds, she took me back over to her house. And in the car, she said, you know, send me the bill for your pants that he ripped, for the medicine, all that. And then she showed me a place on her arm and said her uncle's dog had bitten her before. And so she knew how bad it was and how much it was going to hurt and all of that.
So she did the appropriate thing.
Yes, then she did.
Well, what made her change her mind? Did she tell you?
No, I called Tammy after I got the submission from my insurance company, and I couldn't get a hold of her on the phone, so I sent her an email. She didn't respond to my email, so then I sent her a certified letter, and she didn't respond to the certified letter either.
How come you didn't respond?
Yes, Your Honor, I did. I told Natalie that they had quarantined my dog, and I had to pay $98. So therefore, I think the $98 should be applied to her medical bill, because that was the cost that, you know, that was unfair, because the dog has all his shots. He was leashed to his own yard. I didn't think he would bite anybody, but he did, and, you know, it's an unfortunate accident.
Well, let me ask you this question. You said you lived in a neighborhood that wasn't so good, and you needed a dog there for your protection. What did you think that your dog was going to do if somebody tried to break into your house? You thought they was going to jump up and kiss him on the lips? What did you think your dog was supposed to do? And you kept your dog on the back porch because your dog was aggressive. What did you think your dog was going to do?
I only put the dog on the back porch when people came over. It was a very unfortunate accident, Your Honor.
It wasn't an accident. It wasn't an accident. It was unfortunate, that's true. But the only one that could have avoided the unfortunate circumstance is you. If you have an aggressive dog, you invite people to your home. You have to ensure that the dog's not in a position to hurt them. You invited her to your home. Yes. She came to pick up merchandise that you had prepared for her. You should have ensured that your aggressive dog was not in a position where he could have hurt her. He hurt her, you're responsible. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $900. That's all.
What is our excuse? You may step out.
She knows I have an aggressive dog, and I have to put the dog on the back porch when she comes over, so it's not like the first time she's been there.
I knew that the dog barked, but I didn't know that the dog was going to attack me, bite me 4 times, and leave me bleeding on her driveway.
I was in shock because that's the first time I ever bit somebody. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe you actually bit someone.
I have 2 scars on my legs now from this dog bite.
No hard feelings. I love everybody.
Dogs are evil. Get a cat.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Thomas versus Green. Step forward.
Account manager Lizette Thomas is suing her nephew's uncle, customer service rep Antonio Green Sr., for a $1,700 cell phone bill. Lizette says Antonio's son stole her nephew's phone and gave it to a girl.
No, I'd like these 2 young men to come and stand next to their respective parents, guardians. This is your nephew?
Correct.
And you gave him a cell phone?
Yes.
So that he could be in touch with you for emergencies?
Yes.
He lost it?
Correct.
And somehow Mr. Green's son found it. And according to you, Mr. Green's son gave it away?
Yes.
And whoever he gave it away to had a very big mouth. And you got a phone bill for how much?
$1,700.
$1,700. So you want Mr. Green to be responsible for that?
Yes.
Mr. Green says, I didn't use the cell phone. My son didn't use the cell phone. Why should he be responsible?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
When did your aunt give you the cell phone?
Late July.
And why did she give you the cell phone?
For emergencies.
How long did you have it?
About a month.
Until late August?
Yes.
And what happened to it?
I gave it to my coach. We went to a game, and I asked him to hold it, and I left it with him, and we all left.
So what did you do?
I called him and asked him, did he have it? He said yes. I asked him, could he hold it for me? He said yes.
When did you go and get it from him?
I didn't.
Well, why not?
Because I thought if I told my parents, they were going to think I was irresponsible.
That doesn't make sense, what you just said to me. Could you get there by bus?
Yes.
So why didn't you run right over and get it?
I wasn't thinking that time.
Right. You weren't thinking. Now, what's your first name?
Antonio.
Antonio, how did you get this phone?
I found it in the coach bag and I gave it to this girl trying to impress her.
Yes, okay. Don't go through. We have to do this slowly because I have to get things step by step. You found it in the coach's bag when?
Around late August, around the 28th, during the 1st of September.
When you say you found it in the coach's bag, what were you doing in the coach's bag?
Just going in it, sneaking around.
So you stole the phone out of the bag?
Right.
And what did you do with it when you stole the phone out of the bag?
I gave it to this girl. At that time, was my girlfriend.
And what did you say to her?
I gave her the phone, told her she could use it.
So, Mr. Green.
Yes, ma'am.
See, this is something he didn't put in his answer, that he stole the phone.
Well, yes, I knew that he retrieved the phone.
Not retrieved.
Well, stole the phone around November when I got the call from Miss Thomas.
Stole it.
Right.
So, what is it that you did to your son when you found out that he stole this phone?
Can I say on air?
Yes.
I whooped him.
How old are you, Antonio?
16.
Do you go to school?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you do in school?
Good.
Did you ever steal anything before?
Yes, ma'am.
What?
Cars.
How many?
2 of them.
And when you went to court, did your father go with you?
Yes, ma'am.
How many children do you have, Mr. Thomas?
2, ma'am.
How old are they?
He's 16 and my daughter's 15.
She give you any trouble?
No.
So what are you doing about Mr. Trouble?
Well, right now he's in rehabilitation programs in the city, doing counseling session, peer mentoring programs appointed by the court, urine drops and things like that.
He had a drug problem?
Yes, they said he did.
If they said he did, he probably did.
Of course, he denied that, but they said he did.
Well, he's right out here telling me everything that he did. That's a good thing, because he probably knows that I know anyway.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So you better get pretty busy, because you owe this lady $1,700.
Yes, ma'am.
You stole the phone, you gave it to somebody, and you lied to them and said, I got you this phone, you can use it. They used it, as you told them to. I mean, the fact that you couldn't get your behind out of your room to get on a bus and go pick up the phone doesn't make you a prince. Do you understand that?
Yes.
But, I mean, it's your stupidity, but he did it on purpose. He stole it. And then he gave it away and he said, I bought you a present, use it. And you shouldn't have to suffer for that. Mr. Green shouldn't have to suffer for that either. What Mr. Green has to do is he has to harness this boy and send him out there to collect cans. 5 cents a piece, if that's all he can do. Because somehow you've got to impress upon him that when he does something wrong, the whole world can't suffer. He's got to suffer.
Right.
You have to suffer. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,700. That's all.
I was wrong and I was being irresponsible, so I'm happy for them.
I thought the phone was just going to sit in the bag and maybe the bill would stay low.
Eventually, I thought it would never come up.
I know I'm irresponsible, but I'm glad it came out the way it came out.
With regards to the young lady, a $1,700 phone bill, and maybe she called him twice, so he was getting played either way.
He irresponsibly let it get out of his hands, and it got into the wrong hands. But the judgment was in my favor, and I'm very pleased.
James Frederick is suing his girlfriend's ex, security officer David Abbasi, for breaking his ankle during a fight. David says James attacked him.
Now, this is case number 80 on the calendar in the matter of Frederick versus Abbasi. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
Mr. Frederick, the defendant is your girlfriend's ex-boyfriend, and it is your claim that you both found yourself at the same bar and that Mr. Abbasi assaulted you at the bar, causing you to fracture your ankle. You want him to pay all of your expenses relative to that assault and also some punitive damages. Mr. Abbasi says that you were the aggressor that night. He didn't see you injure yourself, and if it wasn't for your aggressive behavior, none of this would have happened. That's your defense. Is that right?
Yes.
When did this incident occur?
The night of February 7th, approximately 10:30.
And what was the name of the establishment that you were visiting?
The Horseshoe Pub.
What time did you arrive there?
Approximately 10 o'clock, I believe.
When you got there, was the defendant there?
Yes, I did know who he was. I'd never met him before that time.
Had you been to this bar before?
Yes, not very much. I don't go out to bars very often.
What prompted you to go there this evening?
Just to get out for a little while. I was supposed to meet my girlfriend there a little later.
Well, did you meet her there?
Yes, she came in probably about an hour later.
Before she arrived, you didn't know who this gentleman was?
Right.
When your girlfriend arrived, she advised you who this was?
Yes, once she saw him.
And you didn't know who he was, sir, when he arrived there, is that right?
I didn't.
How long has this young lady been your girlfriend? Or how long had she been your girlfriend on February 7th?
For 4 months, approximately.
How long had you been separated from her?
About 3 months.
You mean there was a month overlap?
Yeah, I believe they were 3 months in the relationship, not 4 months.
Did she leave you for him?
Yeah.
How long had you been together?
About a year and a half.
Were you upset?
Yeah.
Had you lived together?
Yeah.
So she left you...
She was cheating on me.
With him?
Yeah.
And left the home that you shared to move in with you?
Yes. She wasn't cheating, Your Honor.
But she moved in with you immediately after she left him?
Correct, yes.
Okay. All right, so tell me what happened.
Well, on that night...
After your girlfriend arrived. We're at the point where your girlfriend arrived at the bar.
Okay. After she arrived, I noticed, well, she had told me who Mr. Abbasi was. At that point, then, I acknowledged him.
How did you acknowledge him?
Well, after my girlfriend had told me who he was.
How did you acknowledge him, is my question. Did you shake his hand? Did you go over and say, hello, I'd like to introduce myself? How did you acknowledge him?
No, nothing like that.
Just tell me how you acknowledged him.
I just looked at him. That was it.
Okay.
After that, I didn't say anything, didn't do anything. She wanted to leave, which I probably should have taken her.
That was very smart of her.
Yes, it was.
She said, he's here and I want to leave.
Yes.
And you said...
I wanted to stick or I wanted to stay.
Me?
I should have went with her, decision. Afterwards, probably, I'd say 15, 20 minutes afterwards, Mr. Abbasi just started to look my way, and at both Lucy and I, and adjacent to him was a lady, and he was more or less smiling, laughing, pointing at us, and I just wanted to know what was going on. So I more or less shrugged my hands up.
How far were you from him when you did that?
Maybe 20 feet.
It's not far.
Not very far, right. After that, basically, he got up in anger. At that point, he started really prancing or almost running towards me on the other side of the bar. And I didn't know what he wanted. I didn't know if he wanted to fight. I didn't know if he wanted to talk. So I got up and I met him halfway through the bar. At that point, I lost him in the crowd. There were a lot of people there. And after that, he shoved me after he saw me, and I didn't know where he was. I fell back into the crowd, and I tried to regain my balance. And after I tried to regain my balance, he shoved me again. This time, I fell backwards in an awkward way and broke my ankle.
Now, your version of the events, Mr. Abbasi.
He waved me over to fight.
Show me how he did that.
By putting his hands over like
he
that.
went like that?
Yeah, calling me, saying he's going to kick my butt. We met simultaneously.
I don't want you to make things up as you're going along, Mr. Abbasi. Listen to me. Are you telling me from across the bar You heard him say something to you? No. Or are you just showing me this?
I heard him say he's going to kick my butt and wave me over. And then...
And what did you do?
We both simultaneously...
No. So he waved you over to come over because he wanted to fight with you.
Yeah.
And you being the intelligent, sober guy that you are...
I wasn't sober.
Oh, you weren't? Well, so you were drunk.
Yeah.
So he waved you over, and you went over to fight with him.
Well, I was just thinking we're going to stick chests and try and talk it down, but then when I seen his fist come in, I had to push him.
Your Honor, that's a lie.
No, I don't want to hear you.
I'm sorry.
So continue. Let's keep going. So you got over there, he's waving you on, saying he's going to kick your butt. You go over there to butt chests with him because that's all you thought he was going to do. You saw him fist up his hand, and so you pushed him.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's how he hurt his ankle. If he hurt his ankle at all.
He claims that my shove threw him 10 feet across the room into a pool table, causing his ankle to break in 3 spots.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. James Frederick says he was attacked by his girlfriend's ex-boyfriend, David Abbasi. David says James instigated the fight.
Now I'll hear you. Step up. Who are you?
I'm the bartender that night.
Let me ask you this. What's your last name?
Banks.
Miss Banks, you know Mr. Abbasi and his girlfriend. Is that
Yes.
right? And how long have you seen Mr. Frederick?
I only had seen him that one night.
Where do you come from?
Palmdale.
And this bar is in Palmdale?
Yes.
How many bars are there in Palmdale?
4 or 5.
Mr. Frederick, what prompted you to go to that bar this evening? Because you went there by yourself, and you were meeting Lucy there, right?
Yes.
But Lucy was the one who suggested the Horseshoe Club?
Actually, I was.
Really? And Lucy didn't say to you, no, I don't want to go there because I used to go there with David?
Well, that was brought up, but I reassured her it was all right.
You're a troublemaker.
I didn't see any problem. I didn't know David.
You didn't see any problem? Mr. Frederick, if you weren't looking for trouble for one reason or another, sir, you wouldn't have gone to the bar if she gave you prior notice that this is a place where David would hang out. And when she arrived and she saw him there and she said to you, let's go, I feel uncomfortable. And you said, not me, I'm not going anywhere. I want to see you. So despite the fact that she was uncomfortable and that the presence of the two of you was just an exacerbating circumstance, you decided to stay. Now, I'm not sure about on a legal level, but on a moral level, you got what you deserved. You look for trouble, it's going to find you. You know, there's certain things your grandmother says to you that are true. And one of them is, if you look for trouble, you're going to find it. Right?
Yes, Your Honor.
But you visit your troubles on me and the taxpayer because this process cost money. And because you decided to be a macho jerk, you cost the taxpayer money. Whether it's in this court and any other court. You're gobbling up court time for people who really have cases over which they had no control. You had plenty of control. I didn't go to another one of the 4 bars in Palmdale. Or when you went in there and you saw him there, you knew who he was, and Lucy said, let's go. You got up, paid for the drink, and you leave. Right?
Right. That's what my plan was, but I didn't take fast enough action.
Okay. Did you file a police complaint, Mr. Frederick?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
I'd like to see it, please.
I filed that the day after.
Why the day after, sir?
I was going to file it at the bar, and had I done so, he would have been incarcerated. I wanted to take care of my ankle. It was hurting and it was broken. So
you went immediately from the bar to the emergency room?
Yes.
Okay. Well, evidently they did an investigation, and they didn't arrest Mr. Abbasi for assault. Do you know why, sir?
Basically, they couldn't find him, and DA didn't want to prosecute because it's a typical bar fight. They see it a lot, so they didn't feel it.
Because it's just as possible that you lost your balance because you were drunk.
I wasn't that drunk, Your Honor.
How do I know that? You don't have to be that drunk to trip. Mr. Frederick, I said something to you before, sir, and you may sit down. What I said to you before is if you look for trouble, you're going to find it. Now, I don't necessarily think that it was Mr. Abbasi's intention to get into a confrontation with you that evening, but it is clear to me that it was your intention to get into a confrontation with him. I say that for the following reasons. I am now summing up. Your girlfriend told you that she was going to meet you that evening. You discussed going to the Horseshoe Bar. She said, I don't think I want to go to the Horseshoe Bar because that's where David hangs out. You said, I don't care. I'll meet you there. It'll be ridiculous. You go there, and sure enough, when she shows up an hour later, after you've had a couple of drinks, she says to you, I don't want to stay because David's at the other side of the bar. And you say, I don't care. Let's see what goes down if we stay here. It seemed to me, Mr. Frederick, you got the girl. You should be a happy guy. You shouldn't be looking for trouble. The girl that you're living with, the girl that you're happy with says, I'm not comfortable here. You pick yourself up and you leave. Chose not to do that. He pushed you. You fell. You broke your ankle. That's an accident. Goodbye.
Apologize, please, and let's step out.
Man's got issues where he can't get over his ex-girlfriend.
He wanted to show me he has her.
I didn't think he was, a violent guy.
She wants to see us fighting over each other.
He was lucky he got away with this.
I'm just glad justice is done.
And now the next case. Beverly Grogan is suing her son, 28-year-old DJ Patrick Patterson, and his wife, 24-year-old market manager Selena Patterson, for unpaid rent and for extensive damage to her home.
That's case number 207 on the calendar in the matter of Grogan versus Patterson. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated, sir. Have a seat.
Mrs. Grogan, this is your son and this is his wife.
Yes, ma'am.
Who is this gentleman?
This is my husband.
Are you afraid to stand up?
No, ma'am.
Good. Stand up next to your wife. Are you his father?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so this is your second stepfather. How long have the two of you been married?
2 years.
2 years?
Right. Yes, ma'am.
It's good that you remember.
Yes, ma'am. It's usually the other way. Yes.
Okay. And there was some sort of a problem that occurred between you and your son.
Yes, ma'am.
And you evicted them.
Yes, ma'am.
And when you went back into the house, you saw some extensive damage. So
yes,
you want him to be responsible for the rent that he owes you, as well as for the damage that he did to the house.
Yes, ma'am.
And your son says that there was never an agreement to pay rent, that there was an agreement that he pay your insurance, some sort of insurance, that he paid that faithfully, and he's going to prove to me that he paid that faithfully, and that was the only agreement that you had with regard to finances, and that you are, according to him, a meddling lady who wants to control his life, and when you had a fight with him, you hit him over the head with a soda bottle, and he and his wife and children moved out of the house, and he caused absolutely no damage.
Correct.
Do you work, Mr. Patterson?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a DJ.
Do you work?
Yes, ma'am.
Who do you work for?
I'm an assistant market manager.
Okay. So you have two incomes. What are you doing living in your mother's house?
She told me that it was my house for years. Her and my father bought the house when I was younger, and I've always lived there. So she bought her another home and moved it in behind us, and she told us that we could live there. She said, as long as you help me out with my insurance, there's no rent or anything.
Okay. Tell me what the insurance was every month.
$278.
$278.
That's what we pay a month.
What other expenses did you pay on the house, Mr. Patterson?
I replaced some doors.
No, expenses, regular expenses.
As in?
Heating, utilities.
Yeah, we
paid the utility bill and the phone bill, but they were also in her name.
I don't care whose name they were in. You were living there.
Yes, ma'am. I paid them.
Okay.
Until she come down and cut them off in 100-degree heat with my kids in the house.
Okay, well, you had a fight with them. You had a fight with your mother.
Yes,
when did you have a fight with your mother?
I don't recall the exact date.
Give me the month.
May.
May.
And how long had you been living in the house up until that point?
I've been there 7 years.
But she left for a period
of 2 years.
2 years and come back.
I come back September 2001.
When she was pregnant again.
Huh. So you've been living there on and off for the last 5 years.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're telling me, Miss Grogan, that your son and his wife never paid rent?
They paid rent one time.
One time?
One time.
When?
I don't even remember it.
It was so long ago.
It was so long ago, I don't remember.
Oh, okay. And you filed eviction proceedings against them after this May argument?
Yes, ma'am.
So why don't you tell me, Mr. Patterson, about the argument?
She asked me for part of the cool ceiling, the trailer.
Part of the what?
Cool ceiling of the mobile home.
I don't understand what that.
It's a seal that goes on top. It's supposed to make the house cooler, and it seals it up from any leaks or anything occurring.
Okay, so she asked you for that.
She asked me for half, yes ma'am, and I told her that I'm hard-headed, so she told me that I was going to pay it.
Just a second. So she said, she asked if you would pay it, and then you probably said no.
I said, if I have it, I will, and she said, well, you're going to pay it.
Okay, so you said, if I had it, I would pay it.
If I have it at the time. She wanted it later on in the week, and I said, if I have it at that time, I will give it to you. But she said, well, you're going to pay it, and I come back honest from her, if you're going to pay it. And at that point, when she told me I was going to pay it, I would have died before I would have paid it then. To be honest with you.
So what did you say to your mother, who's allowed you to live rent-free in the house with your wife and 2 children for 7 years?
After she got on the porch, she made some more threats.
What did you say to her? I don't care what she said to you. She can wipe. She brought you into this world. She can take you out. What did you say to her?
You can't say it in a courtroom, really.
Oh, you can say anything here, sir. We have the ability to go, bleep, bleep.
I told her, you.
Nice.
So
let me see what I got here. I got a mother. How many children do you have, Miss Grogan?
We have none.
One. You have one? Just one. Here. See what happens when you put all your eggs in one basket? If I can just a second. Let's see what we got here, Mr. Patterson. We have a mother who allows you and your wife to live rent-free in her home. And she comes down and she says to you, listen, you don't pay any rent in the house. The house needs some repairs on the outside. I want you to pay, not the whole thing. I want you to pay half. And you say to her, if I had it, and she says to you, oh, you're going to have it. And then you curse at her.
That was only after a few more arguments. I mean, we went on arguing. This happened when we got outside. And then she turned and threw a bottle at me and hit me in the head with a bottle.
Sure did.
And she denies that. My little girl.
You are lying. You were in the house.
No,
My little girl asked me every day of my life why her Grammy hit her daddy in the head and why every time they go over
because he had a big fresh mouth.
She has no reason.
Listen to me. Because he had a big fresh mouth.
Well, and so does she.
I want you to face left.
I'm sorry.
Your other left.
Okay.
You see this woman?
Yes, ma'am.
20 years from now, you won't remember what she looks like. Now I want you to turn around and face right.
What do you think?
That's your mother. 20 years from now, she's still going to be your mother. Look at me. You know how I know that? Because I'm smart. And because statistically, there is more than a 50% probability in this country that you won't remember what she looks like unless you see her occasionally at your children's weddings. So that this lady is somebody that you don't tell to go bleep yourself. And I don't care what kind of trouble Missy Moo Moo over here tries to make. Your mother helped you for 7 years. Now, I'm going to tell you, sir, that I believe you only about one thing. I believe you that there was never an agreement with your mother to pay rent. See that? I'm a reasonable gal. I know what's right and I know what's true. She's angry and she's hurt because probably at this point she has you. You're her only son. You have 2 children. She hasn't seen her grandchildren. That's a very painful thing for her. So listen, Missy Moo Moo over here is shaking her head yes. I'm talking to you, not her. The one that you're not going to remember 20 years from now? I don't remember. Do you know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about your mother who's taken care of you, changed your pants, took care of you when you were sick, took care of you when you had a fever, brought you up, fed you, clothed you, educated you, took care of you for a very long time. This isn't somebody you cut off from her grandchildren. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Just remember what I said when I told you to look left. Now, did you or your wife cause any damage to this house when you left?
One thing.
What?
I was gone to move a bed, and when I come back, we seen smoke coming out of the bathroom window, so I went down there. Maybe she left a... They never determined what it was. I think maybe a candle, maybe it's...
You mean your wife?
Yes, ma'am. And the wind blew the curtain, and the curtain caught on fire, and I put it out. I feel like it could have been fixed with some paint.
Okay. So you would agree, Mr. Patterson, would you not, that this accident that you say was caused by your wife negligently leaving a candle burning in the bathroom is your responsibility to fix?
Yes, ma'am. But I don't...
There you go.
I don't think it was as bad as it was said.
All I'm going to do is look at her bills to fix it. That's all.
The bills were fixed by an ex-husband.
I don't care who they were fixed by. I don't care if they were fixed by Howdy Doody. I want to see a paid bill to have it fixed, because that is minimally your responsibility. You would agree with that?
Yeah, but not as bad as it says. They say it is.
Can I please see the bill to fix the bathroom that was damaged as a result of his wife leaving a candle burning and a wind blowing through the window and catching on fire the curtains, which caused damage that might have been fixed by just some paint?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today, Grogan says her son Patrick Patterson and his wife Selena Patterson owe for unpaid rent and for damage to her home. Beverly says Patrick and his wife burned down the bathroom.
Where are you living now?
In a mobile home.
Well, who rented it to you?
I bought it.
How much money did you put down on it?
$500.
How much do you make in mortgage payments?
$500 a month.
Let us assume that for the past 5 years, not 7, 5, because that's how many years you lived in your mother's house with Missy over here, that you paid your mother what you're paying on a mortgage. That's $500 a month. $500 a month times 12 times 5 years is $30,000. That's how much you saved by living in your mother's house. $30,000. Now, if you didn't put that away, that's your problem. But you don't move out of a house and leave it like a pigsty, which is what you did.
We couldn't clean it up. Every time we went over, we get cussed out.
It shouldn't have gotten to that point. These photographs that I'm seeing didn't happen in one day. They happened over a very long period of time.
She always told me that was my place. So even told the preacher that was my place. It belonged to me.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,580. Just remember what I said to you, sir. Look over there. You won't remember that face unless one of your kids looks like her in 20 years. Do you understand? This is always going to be your mother. You're making a big mistake, and you're being very unfair to your children. You're being very unfair to your children if you don't allow your children to have a relationship with your mother when she's had a relationship with them over the last...
I have no problem with her having a relationship.
Great.
He has refused. I have called him and called him and called him and asked him to bring the children over.
So he says he has no problem. So you're going to bring your children over on Sunday morning?
Yes, ma'am.
What time do you want him to bring the children over?
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock for a visit?
Yes, ma'am.
For an hour. Great.
Yes,
every
ma'am.
Sunday?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that reasonable?
Yes, ma'am.
That's fine.
Done. Thank you. That's all.
Why did you excuse? You may step out.
When he put his hands on me and he threw me down to the ground, I knew then that, we need at some point it had to stop.
What can you say? I mean, you have to go by what she says, but don't agree with everything.
I was hoping he would learn from it. I love him and I love Selena.
He's not there anymore. He's making a family with me and his 2 kids. That's the problem with her, which is fine. We'll see where he is in 20 years.
And the control problem is not with me. It's with his wife.
And now, 26-year-old account specialist Beatrice Turrieta is suing her mother, tanning salon owner Beatrice Coleman, for having her falsely arrested and for the return of her belongings.
All rise. Yeah, this is case number 470 on the calendar in the matter of Turrieta versus Coleman. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have a seat.
Miss Turrieta, this is your mom.
Yes.
And you're suing her for a couple of things. First, you were living with her and her boyfriend. I assume this is the boyfriend?
Yes, it is.
For a while. You and your husband?
Yes.
And children?
My baby.
Your
My
baby.
6-month-old
One
son.
child. And there was some sort of a disagreement, a dispute. You left the house and you claim that your mother still has some of your property.
Yes.
That's one. Number two, you claim that your mother falsely reported to the police that you had stolen a credit card from her.
Correct.
And you were arrested.
Yes.
Your mom says that she has none of your property, and I don't understand her defense with regard to the credit card. Is what you're saying, Ms. Coleman, that you didn't call the police, but your boyfriend called the police?
Exactly.
Okay. Now, when did you and your husband and baby move in with your mother?
April 2004.
Why?
My mom didn't raise me. My father raised me from when I was 3 and my brother was 1 in New York. And I talked to my mom maybe 3 or 4 times a year for my whole life. She asked us to come there and come visit her, so I brought my son and we came to visit. I visited for about a month, and she said, why don't you come here with...
Well, what was your husband doing when you were visiting?
He was still at work in North Carolina, where I'm from.
Okay, go ahead.
And then we were there for about a month, and John had come to visit 2 weekends, and she said, you should come here, save up all of your money, live with us, and you can save up enough money and get a house and come live here. So we did.
Where is here?
To Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay.
And things were pretty normal and good for a little while.
Did your husband find a job?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
And I got a job at the end of August. After that, I think things went downhill from there. She was watching my son while I was going to work, and he had diaper rash almost every week to the point where his butt was bleeding, and I had to fix it every weekend.
Can you tell me on what day you moved out?
October 16th.
Had there been an argument?
Yes.
About what?
They came home, they had been drinking. My brother was back from Iraq with his wife, and they came into the house and they were stomping and slamming doors and screaming. And I asked my brother, I was like, can you be quiet? My son is sleeping. And he stood up and he was like, I don't have to be quiet, I don't have to do anything. And then Ron came up behind him and he was like, this is my house and this is my rules, and if you don't like it, you can get out. And he was screaming and acting like a psycho. So I went and got my husband, and he got in my husband's face and tried to start a fight with him and said, come on, big boy, come on, big boy. You want to do something?
I got it. So you left that night?
Yes. And she came into my bedroom and she brought her purse with her. She took out her wallet and she opened it up and she went to looking through her credit cards and she went to give me the black one that I use sometimes, and then she goes, oh, you have my GM card, why don't you just use that one? Get a week at the hotel, and I'll get you somewhere to live. At the end of the week, I'll get you somewhere to live.
Well, why would she get you somewhere to live if you were working and your husband was working?
Because she felt bad because we had moved there.
You had the credit card?
Correct.
Ms. Coleman, how did she get the credit card?
She had it. She was going to obtain some Barbie dolls for me at her job.
She gave it to me.
Just a second. When did you give her your credit card?
Probably 2 weeks prior to her leaving the house.
Does that sound familiar to you?
She gave me the card almost every day, all the time, for gas, cigarettes, everything.
How many times did she use the credit card? If I were to look at the slips from the credit card company, how many times before October had she used the credit card?
Probably about 6.
And would you give it to her each time, or was it in her possession?
Usually.
Not usually. Was it in her possession?
She kept it. She kept it. She kept it.
She kept it?
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, I'm going to get to the truth.
Yes,
you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I would like to see the police report that was filled out with regard to the credit card. Well, first of all, Mrs. Coleman, you filled out this police report. This is in your handwriting.
Yes, they made me.
Nobody makes you do anything, and you say here that she used it without my knowledge or permission.
Right.
Who made you? Your boyfriend?
No. When the sheriff came to the house.
Why did the sheriff come to the house?
Because he had checked our account online, and she had used.
Who had?
My husband.
Yeah.
And she had used it at the motel room, charging $309. She went 3 different times in a matter of hours to the Meijer at the bottom of the hill and went on a shopping spree. Okay.
So charged what?
Energy drinks, men's boxer shorts, women's bras, conditioner, shampoos, all the stuff that she brought the policeman to the house to get that night.
Ms. Coleman, I don't understand something, madam. I mean, I hear you talking about all the things that she charged on this. You're not talking about a lot of money. They all look like emergency things that one would use if they were staying temporarily someplace that they needed interimly, especially when you have a baby.
Right.
And you knew she had the card, and she had had the card before.
Right.
Don't you think the smarter idea, rather than involving the police in this, was after you went online and saw that she had charged the hotel room and charged the other thing, to call the credit card company and say, listen, my daughter has the card. She's not authorized to use it anymore. I want to stop the use of the card. Do not let it be used again.
Prior to this, she had went to my salon and was mad at her husband, charged $680 some worth of tanning products. My husband and her had gotten to a confrontation over it, and he told her, you are not allowed to use this credit card unless your mother gives you permission. And he said, because if you use this without my knowledge, he said, I will file a complaint on you.
Don't you think that it would have been smarter, more maternal, if you say to whatever his first name is, Joe, she's my daughter, she left the house, she's got my grandson with her, we don't want her to use the card anymore, just call the company and tell them, shut off the card. I don't want to involve the police, I don't want her to be arrested. Did you say that to him?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did he say?
Well, he said that he had already told her that she was not allowed to use it. And before she brought it back, minutes before she came to my house with the policeman standing there, she stopped and got a pack of cigarettes at the corner store.
You think he did the right thing?
No, ma'am.
You think you did the right thing?
Yes.
You did the wrong thing.
We attempted to take it back.
No. Your girlfriend says that you told her you can hold on to it, but if you use it again without your mother's permission or my permission, I'm going to call the police. And I'm saying, is she lying to me?
No.
Well, and I'm saying to you, if you didn't want the temptation there, you should have taken the credit card back. But you don't put her in a situation where she's got a baby and the police come to the motel and take her away and arrest her. That can start a process going from which it's very hard to extricate yourself. Very stupid. But they were entitled to do it. And I somehow think that your mother is sorry that it happened. She's sort of stuck between a rock and a hard place.
I know.
You got it?
I know.
Okay. What does your mother have in the house that belongs to you?
I have pictures of some of the stuff, and then I wrote a list of all the things that she has. And I called her and asked for his high chair, and she said, when I was in the hotel, because I said he was eating on the bed, and she said, well, he needs his high chair. And I said, I want my caricature and the calendar of him that I've been making of him since I was born. And she said, you know, I don't think I have those things. All I want is some respect. And she said, Ron's going to take care of it from here, and threw the phone down.
Okay. You have these things?
I see she showed you a little picture of a toy box that Nicholas is in. That's mine. I bought everything that she's talking about, and I have receipts. I have $10,000 worth of receipts. Mr. Turietti was asked if he had got everything out. He said, yes, he did. He looked at me and said, all's in there is garbage. I can go down to my job, get a truck, come up and throw all that garbage away if you want me to. I said, don't worry about it, John. I'll clean it up.
Did you go to the house?
Yes, Your Honor. I went on...
With or without the police?
With the police.
Fine.
And before we walked in, they wouldn't let us in the house until they had the credit card and the key to the tanning salon. She had to come up from the hotel. We gave them back the credit card, but we are not allowed to go anywhere in the house except the bedroom. Our stuff was in the basement, in another closet.
There's a lot of junk here.
Yes, Your Honor.
All of this doesn't add up to the motel room, right?
Right.
So what are you doing here?
I want the calendar that I've been making of my son since he was born. There's no, you cannot put a price on that. I put pictures of
Okay, do you have the calendar?
No, ma'am. And if it wasn't all that garbage, and what I had done was bought cases of
Do you have the
Pampers.
calendar? The
No,
answer is
ma'am.
no. She doesn't have the calendar.
That's just to hurt me. That's just to keep things from me that are
She
of
doesn't
my
have
son's.
it. Listen, you used a credit card, and I think that you probably knew that you weren't supposed to use the credit card at the time when you used it, whether you did or whether you didn't. What he had to pay for as a result of your using the credit card is more than this.
They didn't pay for anything. That's why my case was dismissed on January 21st, because they could not provide the receipts because they didn't pay the bill.
Oh, really?
Really.
Is that right?
You would have to ask Ron about that. We did pay The reason it was dropped is I'm going through some cancer treatments. I didn't feel like going to, I couldn't. I was throwing
All
up.
I want to know is, did you pay for the motel?
We've reported it to the credit card company
They did not.
as a misuse of the credit card.
So the answer is you didn't.
No.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today, Beatrice Turrieta says her mother, Beatrice Coleman, had her falsely arrested for credit card theft. Beatrice says her mother gave her that card.
You bought certain things for your grandson. Toy box?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. High chair?
No, ma'am. I don't have the toy, but I didn't. Oh, that's a walker, yes. But I don't have that. They have that.
Yeah.
But this you have?
Yes, ma'am.
You want this?
I don't have that other thing.
Just listen to me. Do you want this?
Yes, I do.
Okay. You have any problem with them having that?
No, ma'am.
Okay. If you want to go over there in the company of a peace officer within 5 days, you can get those things. Understood?
Understood.
Very good. Thank you very much. That's all.
Why is that excuse? You may step out.
I was born to that, who I haven't seen since I was 3, and I will never see again.
I would have still give her the $3,000 if that's what she wanted.
She's not a mother. She doesn't know how to be a mother. She never will be a mother.
When she came to my house, she asked my husband where his connection was for cocaine. So I'm sure that's probably what she needed it for. Either that or a gallon of Captain Morgan every week.
I do like Captain Morgan, but I'm a little fat to be on the coke. I think.
She's been in prison before for welfare fraud.
I was in jail. I was, and I've made mistakes in my life.
My dad told me I was selling my soul to the devil when I came to her house, and he was right.
Rick Martin is suing fellow motorists Jennifer and Dennis Hall for damage to his 2000 Mazda 626. Rick says the Halls ran into him in a gas station parking lot.
All rise. Now, this is case number 475 on the calendar in the matter of Martin versus Hall. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Mr. Martin, it is your claim that the defendants, this gentleman in particular, caused damage to your car in an accident, and the accident was his fault. Mr. Hall says that it was your fault, and you don't know why, anyway, that you're suing him because he wasn't driving. It was Miss Hall who was driving the car. So you must have not been watching carefully.
Apparently.
When did this incident happen?
September 17th.
Where were you?
I was in Maitland, Florida, turning into a gas station.
What happened, Mr. Martin?
I was turning into the gas station to buy gas, and I seen the Halls coming at a very high rate of speed through the parking lot, so I stopped.
Through the parking lot or through the gas station?
Into the parking lot of the gas station.
There's a chart over there that the Halls brought. Is the red car yours?
That's similar to what happened.
Where were you coming from?
I was coming from the north, turning in just like that shows, and I stopped, and he come crashing into me. He was driving probably about 45 miles an hour through that parking lot.
Okay. What kind of a car were you driving, sir?
Mazda 626.
And where was the car hit?
Right in the passenger side in the front. Knocked the bumper
Do you have a
completely
photograph?
off. Yes, ma'am.
May I see it, please?
Sure.
Is there damage to the hood?
The bumper was not completely off, and the hood and all the lights were knocked out in the grill.
All right, now what happened after the collision, sir?
After the collision, I started to call the police, and Mr. Hall came over and said, "I'm sorry, I didn't see you. Please don't call the police. I'll have someone take care of your car for you." But my car was not drivable. So I proceeded with calling the police, and then I observed Mr. Hall removing the license plate from the car.
From whose car?
From his car. So when
Yes.
the police got there, I told him that he had taken the license plate off of the car and put it in the trunk. He went and found it, and then they claimed that Mrs. Hall was driving, but that is definitely not the case. So the police officer ticketed him for removing the tag from the car because that tag did not belong to their car, and then ticketed her for driving with no insurance and for careless and reckless driving.
On their statement that it was Mrs. Hall who was driving.
That's what they're claiming, yes.
But it wasn't Mrs. Hall who was driving.
No, ma'am.
It was Mr. Hall.
Mr. Hall was driving. And on page 2 is the correct diagram. It's very similar to that, but it shows my car in a straight line, not in an angle like that.
Why did you take the plate off the car, Mr. Hall?
Because the plate did not belong to that car, Your Honor.
Why not?
Because we put it on the car to transport the car to a sale lot to put the car up for sale.
Well, where were you coming from, Mr. Hall?
We were going from our residence to the gas station. We were putting gas into the vehicle and then taking the vehicle up to put it up for sale.
Where were you taking it to put it up for sale?
Literally 2 blocks away from there, which is also just a couple blocks away from our residence, Your Honor.
Well, Mr. Hall, that doesn't make sense, sir. It doesn't make sense that why you would be putting gas in a car to take it to a place for 2 blocks.
Because it was on dead E, and we're afraid the vehicle would run out if someone was to test drive it, Your Honor.
Huh. When did you buy this car, sir?
A few weeks before that, Your Honor.
From whom?
You're
looking down at your feet, sir.
I don't remember the gentleman's name, Your Honor.
Did you have a bill of sale for it?
No, ma'am, not on me.
Did you have it then?
No, ma'am, I did not.
You're pretty slippery, sir. Show me where your car was hit, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Which is your car?
The blue car, Your Honor, is our car.
Right. I got it.
And our car was hit
Now.
right where the highlighted spot is.
I see it. But you passed the gas tank, sir. Did you put gas in the car already?
Yes, ma'am.
Who put the gas in the car?
I believe I did. And
I want you to think. I want you to think. Who put the gas in the car?
I put in the gas, Your Honor.
Do you have a license to drive a car?
I do, yes, ma'am.
Did you then?
It was suspended, Your Honor.
So the answer is you did not have a license to drive then.
No, ma'am.
So you had no license, no registration, no insurance.
Yes, ma'am.
So there would have been a good reason for you to lie to the police and tell them that your wife was driving when you were driving. There would have been a reason and a motive because you would have been taken in if you were driving on a suspended license. Isn't that correct, sir?
Yes, there's also a reason why I let her drive, because she is legal and not suspended.
Listen to me very carefully, sir. On your best day, you're not as smart as I am on my dumbest day.
I understand, Your Honor.
Good. My question to you was, there was a reason for you to lie to the police to tell them that your wife was driving the car. There would have been a reason because you had already had your license suspended, right?
Yes, ma'am.
For what?
For not paying a seatbelt ticket, Your Honor.
Baloney. Now, where did you get the license plate from, sir, that you put on this car?
From one of our other vehicles.
How many other vehicles do you have?
2, Your Honor.
Who insures them?
My wife and I do.
With what company?
Progressive, I'm sorry.
And were the other 2 vehicles insured at the time of this accident with Progressive?
Yes, ma'am.
Why was... What?
Excuse me, Your Honor, may not have been with Progressive. Progressive is our current one, I believe.
Well, why don't you tell me, sir, because it's very easy to check. Why don't you tell me, what was the other company that you were with back in September that insured your other 2 cars?
I don't recall the insurance company off the top of my name, Your Honor.
Off the top of your name, you don't...
Off the top of my head, I'm sorry.
You don't.
I'm nervous.
You're nervous because you're lying, sir. And you know that I'm going to be able to prove that. Before the police arrived, when you took the plate off the car and put it in the trunk, what did you hope to accomplish by that, sir?
Avoiding the ticket for attaching tag not signed, Your Honor.
Now, don't you get a ticket for driving without tags, period?
Yes, Your Honor.
So what would be the difference in putting the tags in the trunk? You were going to get a ticket either way, either for driving with no tags or for driving with somebody else's tags on your car. So what difference did it make?
None. Except to try to keep him from getting a ticket.
Well, don't you think people get tickets, sir, when they drive without license plates?
Yes, Your Honor.
Because that's why you supposedly took the license plate off one car and put it on another, so you wouldn't get a ticket,
Yes,
right?
Your Honor.
So that doesn't make sense to me. What did the police do with that license plate, sir?
They confiscated it, Your Honor.
And what did you do with the car from where the license plate had been removed?
The vehicle stayed right where it was, Your Honor.
And where is it to this day, sir?
In our driveway, Your Honor.
Without license plates?
It has been licensed and insured.
How did you get new license plates for it?
I just applied for a new plate, Your Honor.
You have to say what happened to the old plate, sir. If the car had been registered.
The vehicle hadn't been registered in our name prior to that, Your Honor.
Oh, so you had yet another car in your arsenal of cars that hadn't been registered in your name at the same date that you had this accident.
It's a vehicle that my sister allowed for us to drive because we didn't have a dependable vehicle at the time to drive, Your
Well,
Honor.
what about the third car that you had home, sir?
It wasn't.
Vehicle.
What?
It's a work vehicle.
What is a work vehicle? What does that mean?
It's a truck that we use to do landscaping and lawn maintenance.
that pulls a trailer, and it's decaled up, and insurance will not cover that if we are in an accident when we are not working.
Okay, so we're going to do this. We're going to play. At the time of this accident on the 17th of September, 2004, who had a driver's license? Raise your hand. At the time of this accident on September 17th, 2004, who had a registered vehicle? On September 17th, 2004, who had a vehicle with appropriate tags on it? On September 17th, 2004, who was driving a car illegally? Good. Perfect. Okay. Shooting fish in a barrel. Can I see the estimate for your car, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
What a bunch of hustlers. Not you, Mr. Martin.
I also have, Your Honor, a letter from the Halls stating that Mrs. Hall is guilty of this charge because we originally had an agreement for the Halls to pay me $400 a month beginning on November the 10th. And I know you're not going to believe this, but that didn't happen.
The only thing that I don't believe, sir, is that you believed them, that it was going to happen.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today, Rick Martin says fellow motorists Jennifer and Dennis Hall ran into him in a gas station parking lot. Rick claims Dennis was the driver, but after the accident, he switched places with his wife.
I have a net total of $2,966.35. Is that your estimate?
That's the estimate to fix the rest of the damage. I've already spent over $2,000.
You have those bills?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see them, please.
In those estimates, Your Honor, he's also trying to recoup, he's trying to double charge for repairs that he made once originally on his first repair bill.
And I have a listing of those if you'd like to see
And
it.
then he's trying to get the same repairs covered again on his estimate he previously handed
Are you trying to do that, sir?
No, ma'am.
Did you have a deductible on the car?
I had only liability. I did not have full coverage on the car because it's paid for.
Okay, what did Allstate pay you?
Allstate only paid the tow bills. And I tried to relay that message to the Halls, but they would not return any of my calls to find that out. So.
They wanted you to go away, like their license plates.
Yes.
Your Honor, he when he originally showed up at our doorstep, he was demanding the $14.95 and repayment as well as new headlights.
So how much? Just a second. So how much did you give him, Mr. Hall?
I gave him $0.
Well, now you're going to give him $4,834. Judgment for the plaintiff. That's all.
While you are excused, you may step out.
The first thing I thought was they were going to drive away.
We like to buy and sell vehicles, and my husband was in the back seat.
I didn't ask him what he was doing. I took a photograph of the license plate. I could still tell you the number of that license plate right now.
When the gentleman hit us, my husband bounded out of the back seat, driver's side, and of course everybody thought he was getting out of the driver's seat.
I think that they're professional con men or deadbeats. I don't know.
But when Jennifer asked to see some type of receipts or anything, he didn't provide any. Instead, he just went and got additional estimates and came up with this claim with that.
When I went to his house, he told me that I was not the first person that he ran into. That would be why he doesn't have a driver's license.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Hackett versus Duval, step forward, please.
Tree surgeon James Hackett is suing medical assistant Patricia Duval for cashing his winning lottery ticket after he lost it.
Mr. Hackett, it is your claim that the defendant cashed your winning lottery ticket.
Yes, ma'am.
Defendant says she found it. It's hers.
That's correct.
When did you purchase this lottery ticket, sir?
I purchased it on a Saturday. It was October the 2nd of last year. And on that day, I went down to the lottery agency and found they weren't open. So I put it in my wallet and decided...
Just a second. When was the drawing?
It was a draw that day.
The same day?
Yes.
Where did you watch the numbers?
It was on a TV screen in the store. The numbers came up. It was the first game. I won. I was amazed.
Had you played those numbers before, or was it a random?
Well, three of the numbers are birthdays. My mother's, and one of my other deceased brothers' birthday. The other three are random numbers that come up a lot. So I played them together and happened to win.
Okay. Where did you purchase the ticket?
Chelmsford, Massachusetts.
Where?
It was a convenience store in Massachusetts.
When you found out that you won on these numbers, what did you do with your winning ticket?
I brought it up to the counter, and the store manager, what he does is a general practice. In that store, they photocopy it and hang it up on a little display thing to tout the winning numbers.
So he photocopied your lottery ticket.
He did, fortunately.
What happened to the ticket? Mr. Hackett?
Well, the following Monday, I went back to work. I'm a professional tree climber.
A tree climber, what is that?
I climb trees and reduce them, take them down. I do difficult takedowns.
Okay.
And I did all the hard work in the morning, and there was one easy one. And 21 years of climbing, this one little stupid tree I'm climbing, a branch broke. I fell out of the tree 12 feet. I hit the ground. I break 8 ribs, my wrist. I puncture a lung, and the ambulance comes to get me, and I can hear a chopper coming. I can't breathe, and I have the guys flip me over on my back and take my gear off, my saddle, my hooks, my chainsaw, all the stuff, my helmet, was all my safety gear.
Is that when you claim that you lost your lottery ticket?
They cut my pants off, my wallet.
Is that what you claim?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Where exactly was this? Where did this happen?
In Berlin, Massachusetts.
Is that where you live, in Berlin?
No, ma'am.
Where do you live?
Douglas, Mass.
Were you in Berlin?
Not Berlin, no.
Where did you find the lottery ticket?
Northborough, Mass, at a Dunkin' Donuts parking lot.
How far is that from Berlin?
I couldn't tell you.
No.
It's a town or two away, ma'am.
So it's one town away.
Yeah, I believe so.
Good. Now we come to you.
Okay.
You found the lottery ticket in a Dunkin' Donuts parking lot,
Yes,
one
I did.
town away from where he lost his lottery ticket, right?
Yes.
And what did you do with it?
Well, my husband and I came out of the Dunkin' Donuts and we were going to our car, and I seen it on the ground, and I picked it up and looked at it. It also had like a confirmation with the ticket saying that apparently it was a winner. So it was late, about 6:37 at night.
What date?
October 7th.
Okay.
And so I picked it up, and the next day I went to the lottery agent, and sure enough, it was a winner, and it wasn't signed, so I signed it, and I did cash it.
Cash it. Okay. And how much money did you get?
$1,600.
Ma'am, I have a problem with that.
Now, Mr. Hackett, after you realized that your lottery ticket was missing, you contacted the lottery office?
Yes, I boogied down there from, as soon as I got out of the hospital.
And at that point, you went down there with the numbers that you had.
Yes.
Did you go back to the store that had posted the winning lottery?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let me see it, please.
Ma'am, she's saying she's found...
Oh, it's a Keno.
It's Keno.
Keno.
Yeah. I'm not in the habit of playing it, but if I have a fistful of dollars, I'll play it once in a while.
Okay. So you went down to them, got this.
Yes, ma'am.
Got this.
Unfortunately, they had photocopied that.
Right.
3 of those numbers are birthdays that mean something to me.
Don't say
Sorry, ma'am.
anything. You never can tell. So far, you're doing okay.
But, ma'am, I don't know this gentleman at all.
don't
Never
know you
seen
either.
him before in
Mr.
my
Hackett,
life.
did I give you an opportunity to speak? Was she quiet when you were speaking?
Yes, ma'am.
Don't interrupt her.
I've never seen him before in my life.
You don't have to see him.
And there was no signature on it. And like any normal person, if you find something that's worth something and there's no signature, no ownership, then you're going to keep it, you know?
I am satisfied that Mr. Hackett lost his lottery ticket.
Well, yes.
And based upon this, I am satisfied that the winning lottery ticket that you found belonged to Mr. Hackett.
Ma'am, I hit it.
I'm speaking!
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Let's say, Mr. Val, that you're walking along the street and you find a 4-carat emerald cut diamond. Doesn't have a name, doesn't have an address, doesn't have anything. And you take it home. And you say, gee, this looks great. I'm going to size it and wear it on my finger. And you do. Then you're having your nails done a week later. And the woman at the next counter is sitting there and she says, it's a nice ring. And you say, yeah, I found it. She said, well, I lost my ring last week. Do you mind if we take it in to the jeweler? Because I have my GIA that you get when you buy a diamond, and it maps all the little dots in a diamond so it can identify, you know, one diamond from another. You go with her to the gemologist, and he said, that diamond belongs to that report.
Yes, and I would agree. Yes, I would agree.
That's her diamond.
Yes.
Even though you found it.
Take it back, yes.
Even though you found it.
Yep.
He lost his lottery ticket. His problem is not with you finding it and cashing it. His problem is once you found out that it was his lottery ticket, you shouldn't have kept the money.
I just found out when I got notified.
Oh, there we go. So we have no problem. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,600. Thank you.
Parties are excused. We'll step out. I like Judge Judy. I knew that if I got in front of her, that she'd see it that way.
He should have signed his ticket.
The ticket was in my wallet. It couldn't have grown legs. Somebody had to take it out of there.
I don't know how it got to where it was, but I did find it.
It was my money.
It wasn't signed. If it was signed, I would have contacted him and given it back to him.
Finders keepers? No. Not in this case. It's my ticket. I'm the winner.
I'm just happy that he got whatever he was looking for out of this.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Lombardo versus Rao. Step forward, please.
21-year-old waitress Elizabeth Lombardo is suing her ex-boyfriend, 22-year-old construction worker Bo Rao, for several loans she made throughout their relationship. Bo says Elizabeth is holding his belongings hostage.
Miss Lombardo, this gentleman used to be your boyfriend, and you lived together for a period of time. According to you, when you separated, he owed you some money.
Yes.
Mr. Rao says he doesn't owe you any money. Relationships are a give-and-take thing. So get over it and move on with it, right?
Yes, ma'am.
When did you live together, Miss Lombardo?
We lived together from May probably to August of 2004. We started in May 2003.
Is that about right?
That's about right.
And did you move into an apartment together, or did you?
No, we moved in with my family.
That's wrong, Your Honor. Prior to that, we were living at my apartment with my brother, and she was staying over there. Then we moved.
When was that, sir?
That was April and May. We stayed in the apartment, then moved there.
I still had a room in my house. It wasn't.
I don't care whether you still had a room in your house. Were you living with Mr. Rao and his brother for April and May?
Yes.
And then the two of you moved into her family's house?
Yes, ma'am.
Where you had a room?
Yes.
Fine. So what does he owe you money for?
Throughout the course of our relationship, the defendant didn't have a job, so I helped support him. From a dental bill, his car windshield was smashed, dentist, car payments, municipal court payments.
Your Honor, I had a job.
So you gave him money?
Yes.
And?
We had a verbal agreement when we were going out that he would pay it back.
Well, tell me about the verbal agreement that he would pay it back.
Just throughout the court, he would pay me money when he had money, and when he didn't have a job, I was always forking out money for him.
How often? 5 times, 10 times, 20 times?
There was always, it was constant.
And he always said to you, you have $20, I'll pay you back. You have $50, I'll pay you back.
Yeah.
Right? Go ahead.
Then when we separated, we decided he was going to make payments of $40 a week, in which he never continued to do. I received one payment of $50.
Well, how did you come up with the amount that he owed you?
We kept it in mind at all times.
Did you?
No, Your Honor, when we were going out, we weren't keeping...
When you moved out, did you agree to pay her a sum of money?
Oh, no, Your Honor.
You did not?
No, Your Honor.
When you separated, did you sit down and write up something?
Yes.
Let me see it. Did you sign this IOU?
No, Your Honor. And for us to sign each other's name on something was pretty common. I could show you receipts with my signing for her debit card, or her signing for my debit card. It was nothing.
You didn't sign this?
No, Your Honor.
Fine. Tell me the circumstances surrounding your separation, Mr. Rao.
The relationship just got ridiculous. She was constantly lying. Everything that would come up would be a lie about something. I couldn't live at her house anymore. And I only actually left for the weekend after a fight, and when I came back, all my stuff was at my parents' house, and she said I had to be out.
So she moved your stuff out?
She moved it with no notice of anything, so that she wanted me out.
I'm ready to hear the rest. 30 seconds or less, Ms. Lombardo.
When he moved out, when he wanted his bed, his stuff was there, that's when you don't believe that he signed the paper.
Well, just a minute. So if what you're telling me, you told me he couldn't take his things unless he signed the paper? Mm-hmm. Then even if he signed it, it's worthless.
He had this agreement with me.
Let me explain something to you. He didn't. What you're saying is that during the course of your year and some months relationship, if you gave him $20, if you gave him $50, whatever it was, he said to you, when I get it, I'll pay you back. And that's what people do when they live together and they're not married. Don't worry, honey, I'll pay you back. That's not a loan. When two people play house and not commit to a relationship as we know it and get married, courts aren't interested in going over $20 here, $5 here, $15 there, $100 for the dentist, $12 for this. Courts aren't interested in doing that. We got other things to do. Mm-hmm. So it's been my suggestion, if you watch carefully, if I've always said, keep your finances separate. Mm-hmm. So I think you have to put a real period and say, it's over.
I'm fine.
How old are you?
21.
21? Perfect. You didn't waste a lot of your time. You didn't waste the best years. You didn't waste the flowing years. Who is this, by the way?
This is my girlfriend, Your Honor.
She have anything to contribute to this case other than, looking nice?
No, just
she decided to come with you to irritate her.
She's seen the craziness.
To irritate her.
Yeah.
Well, probably not the best idea to bring her. Who is this?
This is my friend.
So he brought a girlfriend, you brought a friend. Move on. He did. You should. Have a happy life. Case dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It's pathetic that he has to lie that I didn't lend him money, that I supported him, and that he didn't sign the paper when he did sign the paper.
She makes up fake things. She lied. The whole relationship was basically a joke.
You trust someone and you can't.
It was out of trust and love because she's a nice person, and that's what happens when you're nice to people and trust them.
She just needs to get over it because he doesn't want her anymore.
He's a scumbag.
It's over, man. It's over. It's all over.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Dixon versus Gordon. Step forward, please.
26-year-old waitress Tiffany Dixon is suing her ex-boyfriend, barber Charles Gordon, for damages to her car and for a loan to go to barber school.
Miss Dixon, I've read your complaint and I've read your answer, sir. And from what I gather, Mr. Gordon, hopefully, is your ex-boyfriend.
Yes, ma'am.
And you have 2 children together.
Yes, ma'am.
One wasn't enough. You claim that he owes you some money.
Yes, ma'am.
Because you, in addition to making the mistake of getting involved with him, you loaned him $900, according to you, so that he could attend barber school.
Yes, ma'am.
And then on 2 separate occasions, 2 separate months, you allowed him to drive your car, and your car was damaged while it was in his possession.
Yes, ma'am.
You want him to pay for that.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Gordon says that you are a very, very lucky person to have him in your life, that you adored him, and that's why you gave him the money for barber school, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And he didn't damage your car. One of his other girlfriends may have damaged it, scratched it up while it was in his possession, but he shouldn't be responsible for that because he personally didn't do it. Right?
That's right. I don't know if no girl did it or not either.
But somebody else did it while it was in your possession.
Yeah, it wasn't me.
It wasn't Bird, was it?
Not sure.
Cute. What do you do for a living, Mr. Gordon?
I do it all. From the north to south, east to the west.
He's in Barber College, Your Honor.
He's in Barber College?
I don't need nobody to speak for me. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
When you took the money for barber school, Mr. Gordon, what had you been doing just prior to that?
What I've been doing a lot of things. Making ends meet, they connecting, real connecting, real good. She gave me one thing. Do a lot of things, just to make ends meet, like I said.
When was the last time you filed tax returns, Mr. Gordon?
Filed tax returns. I do that every year. Got to do that every year.
When was the last year?
Is it April 15th yet?
What's your social security number? We'll check. Listen to me very carefully. I would like to be able to continue with your case. Unfortunately, I'm not able to communicate reasonably with Mr. Gordon, so he is not able at this time to present a valid, cogent defense to me.
But, I can...
He can't answer my question. I'm asking relatively simple questions, and I'm not able to get from him the answers that I need.
You can talk directly to you. You can ask me.
I asked you, sir. I asked you what your social security number was.
Your Honor.
That's what I asked you. That was my question.
What I would tell my social security number to for?
You say you file tax returns every year. I want to check.
What does tax returns have to do with this?
Because I asked you a question, sir. I said, prior to going to barber school, what did you do? You said you did what you had to do to make ends meet. That's not an answer to my question.
Okay, well, if he want to come over here and get some paperwork,
No.
I might have some paperwork. He can read it.
Do you understand what, Miss Dixon, do you understand what I just said to you? I cannot complete this case.
Your Honor, please.
I can't.
If I can't present my evidence.
You can't present your evidence, Miss Dixon, because I cannot communicate with the defendant. Do you understand?
Assalamu alaikum, नाज़रीन किराम. शोहर या बेटा. एक दिन हज़रत अली करमल्ला वजहू ने सुबह की नमाज के बाद अपने खादम से फरमाया कि फ़लाँ मोहल्ला में जा. इस मोहल्ला में एक मस्जिद है. मस्जिद के पहलू में एक घर है. इसमें एक औरत और मर्द बहुत देर से लड़ रहे हैं. इनको मेरे पास बुला लिया. آپ کا خادم اس پتہ پر پہنچا تو دیکھا کہ واقعی ایک مرد اور ایک عورت باہم تکرار کر رہے ہیں۔ غلام نے کہا چلو تمہیں حضرت علی بلا رہے ہیں۔ یہ دونوں کے دونوں حضرت علی کی خدمت میں حاضر ہوئے۔ آپ نے فرمایا آج ساری رات تمہیں لڑتے ہوئے گزری۔ مرد نے عرض کیا حضور میں نے اس عورت سے نکاح کیا تھا، مگر جس وقت یہ عورت میرے سامنے آئی مجھے اس سے سخت نفرت پیدا ہو گئی۔ اگر مجھے طاقت ہوتی تو اسی وقت اس کو نکال دیتا۔ اس عورت نے مجھے متنفر دیکھ کر مجھ سے لڑنا جھگڑنا شروع کر دیا۔ حضرت علی نے تمام حاضرین نے مجلس کو رخصت کر دیا اور عورت سے یہ فرمایا کہ جو بات ہم تم سے پوچھیں گے سچ سچ جواب دینا۔ اے عورت تمہارا نام یہ ہے، تمہارے باپ کا نام یہ ہے۔ عورت نے کہا کہ ٹھیک ہے۔ فرمایا ایک رات تو اپنے گھر سے باہر نکلی تھی، تیرے چچا زاد بھائی نے تجھے پکڑ لیا، تو اپنے چچا زاد بھائی سے حاملہ ہوئی۔ مدت تک تو اور تیری ماں نے اس حمل کو مخفی رکھا۔ جب تیرے درد شروع ہوا تو تیری والدہ تجھ کو کسی دوسری جگہ لے گئی، وہاں تیرے ہاں لڑکا پیدا ہوا۔ تو نے اس بچے کو گٹھری میں لپیٹ کر اس مکان سے باہر جا کر رکھ دیا۔ اتفاق سے ایک کتا اس بچے کے پاس آیا، تیری ماں نے کتے کو پتھر مارا مگر وہ پتھر اس بچے کو جا لگا، بچے کا سر پھوٹ گیا۔ تیری ماں نے اپنا دوپٹہ پھاڑ کر بچے کا سر باندھا، پھر وہاں سے تم چلے گئے۔ اس کے بعد پھر تمہیں اس بچے کی کچھ خبر نہ رہی، کیا یہ واقعہ ٹھیک ہے؟ عورت نے حیران ہو کر کہا یا حضرت بالکل ٹھیک ہے۔ اس کے بعد حضرت علی نے اس مرد سے کہا کہ اے مرد تو اپنا سر کھول کر اسے دکھا دے۔ مرد نے سر کھولا تو اس زخم کا نشان موجود تھا۔ فرمایا کہ اے عورت یہ تیرا خامد نہیں ہے بلکہ تیرا بیٹا ہے، حق تعالیٰ نے تجھے دوسری قسم کے حرام سے بچایا، اب تو اپنے بیٹے کو لے جا۔ ناظرین کرام، حضور صلی اللہ علیہ وآلہ وسلم کے صدقہ میں آپ کے غلاموں میں بھی علم اس قدر تھا کہ مدتوں پہلے کی چھپی ہوئی راز و بھید کی باتیں بھی وہ جان جاتے تھے۔ پھر خود حضور صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم سے کوئی بات کیسے غائب رہ سکتی ہے؟ کیسی لگی ہے آپ کو ویڈیو؟ کمنٹ باکس میں لازمی بتائیے گا، اور ویڈیو اچھی لگی ہو تو لائک شیئر کرنا نہ بھولیے گا۔ اگر یہ ویڈیو ٹک ٹاک پر دیکھ رہے ہیں تو ٹک ٹاک کا اکاؤنٹ فالو کریے گا، اور اگر یوٹیوب پر دیکھ رہے ہیں تو سبسکرائب کر کے میری حوصلہ افزائی کریے گا۔ ملتے ہیں نیکسٹ ویڈیو میں، تب تک کے لیے اللہ حافظ۔